Welcome to Alive on One, a local podcast. I don't know. Oh man, I
It's
don't
I
know where I
that
was going with that. What's it?
I think we're a miniature space podcast. Is that the typical?
We're also local to your eardrum today, if you're listening to us. So I was technically correct, the best kind of correct. But yeah, welcome to Alive on One. We are a miniatures podcast. And I'm here tonight with Jian because he already spoke. How you doing,
Hey,
Jian?
how's it going, Stephen?
um, so yeah, some intros are better than others, I guess. But so anyways, tonight we're going to be talking about we're doing another one of our faction focuses. Just in time, the new missions leaked this week. So we're in still kind of a weird limbo, but you can play the new missions until we wait for the Sentinels boxes, as well as like the character updates that AMG has mentioned are coming in June. And technically, the new missions aren't legal till June 11th, I believe.
Yeah, at TO's discretion. I think some people are already implementing them in their events, but we figured this will be a nice time to just get a nice snapshot of Brotherhood before the June updates, because I think this faction is like really cool and it's got a lot of interesting tools for it. But obviously, there's like certain like stats that are kind of weird. Some of the characters like may not see initial purpose for some of them, and we kind of just want to get our takes on these characters before if anybody sees a buff or sees a nerf in the June update. I'm hoping mostly buffs for this team though.
Yeah, agreed. And also they're an iconic, one of the. I mean, X-Men are super iconic, and without or the opposite coin to X-Men is Brotherhood, right? So,
Yeah,
really cool affiliation, and the Magneto model is pretty sick to be fair. The original one I like a lot. So,
yeah. There's a lot aura farming that, as the kids would say, that Magneto does. He's pretty cool, and I hope he gets some sort of update to help him out. I guess even if it's
yeah,
just some health, I think having 14 health is like kind of rough, and that's a proven what we can talk about
yep.
during this
We
cast.
definitely can talk about that. And I know Waylon. Yeah, you're welcome. um, sorry, I haven't shouted out Waylon in a while, but also he's a big Magneto lover, so I thought I'd just mention him.
Yeah.
But anyways, let's before we get into specific Brotherhood stuff, we can do our intro. Jin, I have an Alive on One here that I'm not going to say. I was just doing that to troll you, so you can go into yours.
Oh, okay. The shorts version of Steven's Alive on One is the fact that he did a Gwen lifesaver pull for Zemo, and it frustrated me to no end. And then Zemo proceeds to do Zemo things, and I was very, very sad. Um,
Yeah,
but the Alive on One I do actually want to talk about. I recently played a game in my shop with Terry, one of our,
Baron Strucker.
yeah, he was using Baron Strucker. He was doing White Hydra, and when he was doing that, he also wanted to get the High Council off as well, which he did do, which was really impressive. But additionally, one of the 11-1 situations that happened there was that I had went into Strucker with Mystique, I think, and I left him basically on one health left. He then proceeded to spender me and then use his leadership to also pawn off the stun I just gave him to heal back
Oh yeah.
like 3 health basically, and then he just healing factor the last 1 health back on his front side, and I'm just like, this is like the worst.
Yeah. So, shout out a little bit here to that. Sounds like an unfortunate situation. I've talked to Dutch a couple times about the Hydra stuff, and one of his biggest like laughable moments was he's like, "Yeah, dude," and like Strucker, you just like kind of walk him up. He hits once, gives a condition, and then heals to full. Like leaving him alive on one's a real bad time, as you experience. So,
Yeah, no, he definitely has the ability to sort of yo-yo back himself. Like not as good as like Carnage, but like man, he does that sometimes, and it's pretty dope when it happens
yeah.
for the Strucker player.
I think the best model that does that though is obviously Dracula. That
No, it's Carnage for sure.
okay. Well, Dracula is also really good at doing that. But yeah. So cool. Well, maybe not cool.
So
For you, I guess.
shout outs to Terry. I have now officially mentioned this story as you requested.
Oh, okay. Um. So hobby catch up. Jin, how do you prefer your steak?
I personally am a medium steak guy, actually.
Okay, yeah, I'm medium most of the time, maybe medium well. I've gotten sick too much of, especially with hamburgers actually now, because I've gotten sick a few times off some hamburgers. So
But that's
I
a
tend to
hamburger and not a steak. So like,
true,
ground
but
ground beef is a different animal. Like
and this
that's
is a hobby catch up session, not a food session. But
what is food
here
not a
we are.
hobby we all partake in, Bork?
Very true. Yeah, so I haven't done any model stuff, and I doubt Jin has this week either. So,
I have not. There's a lot of
uh,
stuff I need to build. So we'll let you know.
yeah, I have so much stuff. Actually, I'm just looking in. So I brought a bunch of crap home to New Hampshire while I'm here for a little while to like build. And I've got at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boxes plus a Mephisto that I like intended to build while I'm here, and I haven't touched any of it. I've already been here for like 2 weeks, so I gotta get cracking, man.
You need a little like death station you can take with you while you hike or something.
Yeah, just to build models as you're going up mountains. That'd be kind of.
It's very extreme. I'll be here for it.
It is very extreme. I think it kind of ruins the intention of going to the mountains, but here we are. Cool. So upcoming events. I can start. We can like tag team this, but tomorrow, because this is coming out Friday. Crossroad Games with Stephen Maddox is running a timeline event. So there's like 11-ish people signed up. So you can still come if you're listening to this and want to head up to Maine. Going to be a great time. A lot of the Midgard Maine guys, some of the people I started playing this game with, we're all kind of, it'll be a nice like get together. So then, excuse me, the following week, which I'll also be at the Jeez, I just burped again. My bad. At the Battle Standard in East Windsor, CT, on May 17th, which is a Sunday, Jian is hosting a
Yep, I'll be
tournament.
hosting. Yep, it was.
Yep.
I'll need to send out a poll to see if people want to do the old or the new crisis. So we'll see. But it will be a clock event, so chess clocks will be a fact for that one for those interested.
Yep. And I guess we have to the no chess clocks at time. I guess we have to say that now. But yep. So that's a Battle Standard. I'll be there. Next is Midgard Games in Derry. Bring 12 Band 2. We mentioned this with Brian Watson on 5/23, which is a Saturday. That same day, as we also mentioned in Ben's neck of the woods, in Syracuse, there'll be an affiliation battle at Comic Zone. Jin's definitely going to be there, and possibly me. So,
Yep.
Good time. And then 6/12 to 6/14, the kind of annual Atlantic ACO Atlantic City Open in Atlantic City, New Jersey, with Will hosting that one. And I believe there's clocks there. Does Will clock that one?
Yeah, he actually asked me to bring the chess clocks for that event, so it will be a chess clock event to help keep things smooth and running.
Okay, because last year was a AMG one, so there probably weren't clocks, right?
Correct. Yep. Since it was a GT status last year, we had to go by round timers, I believe.
Okay, so this year there'll be clocks. It's in Atlantic City. When I played 40K competitively, that was one of my favorite events to go to. Was the ACO. It's a great time, and you can play craps with Jeff. So, and the next one, I love craps, by the way. Like, I don't know if Jeff listens to this or not, but like people who know Jeff do, and it's been my dream to play some craps with Jeff Trost. So, Cherry Hill, New Jersey, 6/27. Top Deck Games is doing their GT.
Yep.
These are all GTs now. Okay. Okay. I don't know anything about that, so.
Yeah, it's the Top Deck Games is a store in southern New Jersey, I want to say, and Cherry Hill. So yeah, they're one of the few northeastern GTs available. So if you're interested in coming out for a GT swag and prize poolings, so check that out.
So that's probably closer to Philly then?
Yeah, 6/27. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, so if you're in South New Jersey, you're eating good as far as GTs goes this year.
Yeah. And then Simon, I know, had asked us to also promote this several times, but the Saint Laurent Open in GT in Montreal is September 17th. So, plenty of time to kind of plan for that. It's at their local shop. I don't know what that's called. Maybe.
Yeah, we'll try to get more details as we get closer, as far as like maybe an address or a link officially. But
Yeah.
we love our Montreal brethren and would love to support that event. So if you're willing to make the trip up, and it's going to be a nice event. It's a large capacity store from what I understand, and again, it's GT swag. So if you want those dice, maybe a chug crack at those getting those sweet measurement tools for Asgard,
Hmm.
go for it.
I kind of want a recal card with Simon's face on it. Just saying.
Oh my god! All right, that is something we have to talk to Will about because
Yeah, that'd be so dope. Especially if everyone had them when they went up to this who was from the US. So if you're going, let me know and we'll hook you up. Okay. Give me 1 second. So tonight we're talking about Brotherhood, as we mentioned at the beginning of the episode. So um, I think the first thing we'll do is actually talk a little bit about the affiliation, just briefly, because we have a lot of like gameplay and characters to cover. So at least in my, everyone, hopefully, well, I guess if you don't like X-Men or you don't read the comics or whatever, you don't really know who they are. The Brotherhood are the main villains of the X-Men, and they're like sort of, I know in some like takes of them, they're like more villainy and like kind of caricature villainy than what happens in a lot of things, because like Charles Xavier and Magneto, Eric, were friends like growing up, and that storyline has been done very differently. But they're basically two sides of a kind of like an issue in terms of how to handle humans, in terms of like the mutant problem or whatever. Uh, Really cool. The X-Men comics in the 70s really bring up a lot of like 70s, 80s ish, like the original ones that are really good. I can't remember the names of them right now, but the original Phoenix Saga was in there at one point. But anyways, they have always brought up a lot of like themes of like race and discrimination and things like that. And the leader of the Brotherhood, who we're going to talk about, or one of them, Eric, or Magneto, as we know and love him, um,
He has the alias
has.
of Max Eisenhart, I think, in this game though.
Oh, it's
So
not Eric.
yeah, I think it's man. I think he's gone by so many different monikers. So, but this is the one
That's
they kind
true.
of stuck with for the alias, just to make sure
Oh,
listeners are not
interesting.
confused for who we're talking about
Well,
here.
we'll just say Magneto then, because he has gone by lots of monikers because he's lived underground. Because he always like rises up and like the X-Men beat him, and then he goes back somewhere else. And then, except for that time, there's that whole storyline recently in the past, I don't know, 15, 20 years, where he like owns an island, and like tries to liberate the mutants or whatever. That's a whole long thing. I'm not remembering quite correctly, but I do want to shout out, if you're interested in Magneto specifically, there's a really really cool run in the comics by the author Ben Walta that I read. I think it was during COVID, or even before that. I was in my 20s, so it's been, not to age myself here, but it's been a while. So, anyways, it's a really cool run that kind of explores like his sort of origins and like kind of like really makes him into like the anti-hero and really develops his character a lot for me personally. So I thought it was a really good run. The art, especially on the covers, is also phenomenal. So you can check that out. I think they have like a collected works, or omnibus or whatever they call those these days, on that run. So I think you can find that on Amazon or whatever. And if you don't want to support Amazon, you can go check your local comic book shop. But anyways, it's all to say, Brotherhood has some really iconic characters. They're intertwined with the X-Men like so much that some X-Men are, were in the Brotherhood at one point, and that the affiliation definitely reflects that with some of these characters. So, yeah, without further ado, want to start with the Magneto into MCP stuff. You want to start with the Magneto leadership?
Yeah, so Magneto's leadership is interesting, where like his from the Ruins leadership says that basically whenever train is destroyed, whether it's from you doing something, your opponent doing something, or maybe in the future if the crisis actually destroys terrain in some way,
Hmm.
after that happens, you get to distribute out that much power equal to the size among your squad, basically one per. So, for instance, like if a size 3 train gets destroyed, right, you can distribute 3 instances of one power to 3 different characters that you have on your squad, for
Hmm.
instance. So this combos really nicely, right? Because Magneto, not surprisingly, is a person that throws a ton of terrain in this, in this game, and he's got one of the. I think he's really the only character that is allowed to throw multiple terrain pieces like in a turn from the same superpower. So fatal attraction, you pay, X equal to the size of the terrain you want to throw, and you're just taxed one extra power per time that you've actually throw something before. So for instance, like for your first throw is normal cost, but your second throw is going to be cost plus one. Your third throw is going to be cost plus two, basically for the terrain throw. And given the fact that like size one terrain has basically become more like plentiful, I think he actually has an overall net buff to his terrain throw like damage output basically.
Yeah, there's size ones everywhere these days too, so definitely makes sense with the new board layout.
Yeah, so like I think people were pretty I guess tepid of whether or not Magneto will actually be stronger or weaker with the new terrain meta, but I think overall he's made out pretty good in the new terrain meta.
Yeah, I played into a few Magneto like opposed him, and it is like kind of brutal how much terrain he can throw. So
yeah, exactly. He's also got a really good builder because the builder can just like it pushes any size right outside of range 2. Otherwise, you just get reroll any number of dice like within range 2. So very much like it's not quite as dumb as T'Challa's King T'Challa's attack, but it was something closer to that at the time. But he's a 6 red and T'Challa's a 5 red, so
womp womp. That some of these characters, not all, are going to be a little womp wompy, unfortunately. But
yeah, the Shrapnel Blast, I think as a whole, the community has decided that this kind of doesn't exist as a spender unless you really need to stun somebody. But really, the amount of power you need to spend to do this area 2 attack, despite the fact you can arc it from one of your Shrapnel constructs or your middle constructs, you're just probably better off throwing terrain most of the time, especially since there's just more terrain to throw these days.
Yeah.
So
he's got a helmet, right?
No, so okay,
sort of a helmet.
he's got helmet quotation marks, or so basically he only gets this effect if he is attacked by somebody, and then he's allowed to buff that buff that defense or dodge roll, basically. So yeah, if you were targeted by an attack, or if you would have to make a dodge roll, he can basically use this mystic defense, which is 6 for the roll instead of his normal 3/3. 6 stat line. So, instead of using the 3 physical or the 3 energy, you can just use the 6 mystic for whatever appropriate situation there be. And then on top of that, if that attack would make him get pushed or thrown, he would basically not suffer the push or thrown condition from that.
So it's like a really crappy version of a helmet.
Yes. it was like one of the first iterations of it. I think when Juggernaut got released, they finally like figured out what the helmet should be. So unfortunately, like when we say helmet, you would think like historically it's Magneto, right? That's the iconic like anti psychic barrier like helmet, but it's actually really Juggernaut that they did it through. I'm hoping one day Magneto gets this helmet special rule, but man, we'll see.
He came out in 2020. And famously, I also want to rant here while we're on Magneto. He is not affiliated with New Mutants, even though in a very, I wouldn't call it extensive, but for a long time, he was with Emma running the friggin' New Mutants.
Yeah.
So come on.
Yeah, no, he probably should be. Yeah, he's affiliated in what? Cabal, Hellfire Club, and Brotherhood of Mutants?
Yeah, the Cabal thing's a little surprising. Also, he's not rich enough to be in the Hellfire Club, so why is he there?
They just need someone with the Riz. I think that's what it is.
Well, that's been the joke we use for Hellfire Club. So they're all just rich mutants.
I mean, I don't know if Omega Red's really red, rich either.
He's rich in spirit, man. Just that's
okay. Just all right. But Magneto's kid is very interesting. Like obviously, he's a lot of offensive output, which is really good. His main weakness is the fact that he is very vulnerable to sort of superpower displacement. So throws or a Gwen web line, that sort of stuff. Like you can't really stop it natively, unfortunately. And he being a medium base small mover, right? That can really hamper his ability to get where he needs to be on the board or be in position to help his team.
Also, if he's straight targeted by high volume of high dice quality physical or energy attacks, he kind of just dies.
So. Yeah, if he does run out of power eventually, right? Like there'll be a big a key attack where he just can't boost his dice if he just has the 1 power, 0 power. And yeah, him only having 14 health for a 6 threat is very low as far as like, his peers like in this per threat category, right? So
Yeah, and you can skull out on 3 dice, right? Like
yeah,
pretty, like not that easily, but it happens. We all know that. So
yeah, but I mean, like that's just normal. But yeah, I think like he definitely is under the curve as far as like durability goes.
mm-hmm.
Within
That's where I was
his
going with that, Jim.
okay. But to help that, he does bring. If you do intend to bring Magneto in Brotherhood Mutants, I think most of the time you will take at least one Tactics card with them, and that's
Mm,
the Magnetic Refraction Tactics card. Now it's
yeah.
not affiliated, and what it is he can pay 2 power, and then Magneto gains cover for the round, and all of his friends also within 3 of him also gain cover for the round. So you can't ignore this cover by being close to people because it's not like cover from a terrain; it's cover from a card. And the additional plus of being in Brotherhood Mutants is that he can basically refresh this card, have it usable each round, since he's in the Brotherhood Mutants affiliation as per the card rules. So that probably is the thing that helps keep him and his team like alive a lot. It's kind of I feel like it's almost like a tactical card leadership, in functionality.
Yeah, people. I mean, people take it all the time. You know what I mean? Like that is kind of a staple to Brotherhood. I think is magnetic under Magneto on a magnetic refraction.
Yeah, yeah. If you're playing Brotherhood and you have Magneto, like most time, like there's no reason why you shouldn't take this card. And I think especially since we're going to be moving into a more mid-range to attrition meta with the new Crisis Pack as of the date of recording of 4:30. Uh,
Moving into a more, we're already pretty. It
yeah,
has been like that for a while.
yeah. So I think certainly like there wouldn't be any reason for you not to bring that, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. The other tactics card I do want to mention that's just solo for him that doesn't require any of his friends' help is also Magnetic Crush, which is an interesting. I like to think of it kind of like an alternate spender. It's 5 costs to play this card, and it's basically an alternate attack that you can do one time. You basically pick a target within range 4. It's a 6-die attack. You just will add dice by destroying any terrain that's around them, basically of size 3 or less,
Mm.
within range 2 of the defender. So, if you're like, put him in a middle of a bunch of like barrels, right? He basically like, folds those barrels right into him at the same time this happens. So it's like, thematically, it's really, really cool.
Yeah, it
And
kind of
also,
like looks like a sort of like Warlock, the new mutant, has his spender is like this, but with like rerolls. So it's pretty unique to those, at least those 2 characters. I think like pulling in
yeah,
terrain to use into your text. So really cool.
yeah. I would love it if Magneto got an attack like Warlocks, where you get some rerolls like by destroying some terrain.
Yeah,
That'd be pretty cool.
yeah. If he had like Warlock spender like as is, it would be very thematic. Very cool.
Wait,
It'd be good. I mean, it'd have to change. I think Warlock's his energy. To be fair, correct me if
sure,
I'm
yeah, yeah,
wrong,
yeah.
but
Yep.
that is
Uh,
That is a spender that belongs on Magneto's card for sure.
yep. So yeah, I think so for as far as the leadership goes, like so getting back to his actual leadership, it's a power leadership, right? And that means you're going to get extra power during the course of the game, and you can also purposely destroy some terrain, round 1, right, to try to get some early power plays. So like, people like will try to use like, splashes that can destroy terrain like the Sentinel Mark IVs, or anyone with a cheap terrain throw, right? Those things can all like start to like give your characters like 1 or 2 power extra to need in the round, and they can make some cool operating plays. Or you make some bigger plays like, mid game as well. So that's kind of the general thesis of like what this leadership is about from the ruins. So
People
it's
use
cool.
Winter Soldier a 4th in those lists.
I mean, you
Or
could.
have they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm starting to warm up to Winter Soldier more. So I'm hoping that if he gets like just a health buff, because I think he's just hampered by a 6-5
Mm.
like health pool right now. But like I do like the kill box potentially like as synergistic like in this affiliation.
Yeah, agreed. Like a couple of years ago, it was viable because the health pool and damage was a little bit, less than it currently is.
Well, yeah,
So
before
saw more
like
than I think.
yeah, I think also like since it was like size 1 or size 2 terrain, you're like I don't know if the kill box is worth it. But like I said, all the size 1s, right? Just popping for 3 damage is like it's pretty good now. Let's see.
Yep.
All right,
Cool.
shall we move on to Mystique?
Indeed.
Okay, so Mystique.
I don't know if you're going to say something else. So I just went quiet. She's also Cabal, so there you go.
Yes, she is. She is also Cabal and Hellfire Club as well.
Yep, all three.
It's like they all travel in the same circles. It's weird.
It's like they're mutants or something.
Okay.
Speaking of circle, no, no one's gonna hear that, so we can keep going. All right, so
Yeah.
Mystique.
So Mystique, yep. She's a 3-threat leader, which is always nice to have. So it lets you go a little wider if you want to. Her leadership is the fact that it's a 2-part leadership. Okay. Once per turn, if you interact with an extract objective after the effects is resolved, you get a power. So basically, they'll always be neutral on power most of the time if you just interact once with an extract. And then the second part is you actually have a new general interact action that you can do called interact secure objective token. So you can place a token on an objective token, and while that token's in play, this character's controlling player secures the objective, and then you will remove the token if an enemy character contests that same objective. You can only have one token out at a time for this. So, for instance, so I know D shapes are going away, but classically, what's a great thing to do with Mystique's team is that you can have someone put one of these secure tokens right on their back, on your back D point, and I'm just going to call it the Freedom Force token because I think it just sounds cool. So the Freedom Force token, you just you put it on one of your secures in the back, and then you can just leave that back objective, so you can still bring to bear all of your threat as far as all their abilities and stuff into the game.
Did you make that up, the Freedom Force thing? Because you were calling them Freedom Force tokens the entire time we played with Mystique, like one of our games, and I did not know what you were talking about. And read the card, and I was like, where the hell is this Freedom Force coming from?
So when the actual card says that it's called the secure objective token, but it's like, oh, that's so boring.
Did you just rename them?
Well, no, because their leadership is called Freedom Force.
Oh, my bad. I did not connect the dots there. Now I look like an idiot. I was like, where are you getting this from?
Reading answers the question.
Yeah, reading's hard, man. I'm on my break, man. No reading for Stephen.
That's true. Brain off, head empty, right? So
exactly. But anyways,
we should clarify that once you put that token down, right, you can't interact with another objective to remove the current existing token. So as long as one token's out, that's the only token that can be manifested. You kind of actually need the enemy to get rid of that token to be able to put a new token down. So, which is rarely a bad thing, I think. So at worst,
it's actually very similar to the Jonathan token, right?
Yeah, kind of that situation. But I think Jonathan just stays around regardless, right? And he's just considered an injured character, I want to say, right?
Yeah, I haven't read that card in a long time, but I think you're right.
Hold on, everybody.
We don't need to. No, it's all good. You can keep going.
Okay.
Back to Mystique. So.
Yeah, so she is a long mover, right? Which is nice, and she's got stealth and martial artist. So this kit means that she's very much kind of an objective runner, in my opinion. So there's nothing on the card that really helps her kill people, other than the shapeshifter ability, which is a great ability to have. So shapeshifter, similar to Emma Frost's power inhibitor, which is one of the best passives you can have, where during this character's activation, enemy characters can't use reactive superpowers or reactive team tactics cards. So that's really good because she doesn't get tricks and traps by people. You can't, sacrifice while, Mystique is going, right? That situation.
So Fallback 2 is pretty big for her for grabbing extracts.
Yeah, exactly. They're kind of limited to what they can do as far as any sort of reactive ability. So unless it's a passive thing like aggressive or something, usually they're not doing much when you're taking shots into them, basically.
Or DR, too, that works against Kingpin Bill.
Yeah, exactly. Paying for DR, that just doesn't happen right under Mystique. So it's a really sneaky tech that you can do, but she is kind of limited the fact that she only has a 4 dice pistol attack with rapid fire from range 3. And then a spender that is only a 6 dice, physical attack.
With nothing.
It auto gives you stun, and the stun is before damage, which is pretty cool, actually. But every time I've had to rely on Mystique to pull out something to kill somebody, it doesn't happen. What is
Mm.
really good though is that she does have expert sabotage. This is actually her best offensive ability, where you can pick a terrain of size 3 or less within range 4 of her for 3 power and an action. You can blow that terrain up, and any enemies within one of that terrain will suffer 2 damage. And it's not
Yeah.
a collision, so like that's really, really good. So if someone's on like 2 health and you manage to like get them within like range of some terrain, like yeah, the Mystique becomes like really scary, right? But otherwise, it's like it's okay. You feel okay being attacked by Mystique most of the time, is what I'll say.
Yeah. I mean, on a positive note, in terms of her just like straight attacks, not the terrain blow up, her rapid fire trigger is a hit, which is good.
Yeah. It's not on a wild, right? Like so,
Yeah.
unlike like Winter Soldier or Moondragon, right? Like the rapid fire is like pretty reliable most of the time.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, yeah. I mean, you just basically do it to generate power for her blow up, but
Mhm.
yeah.
Yep.
Um,
So in this sense, like Mystique's team definitely tends to go like more scoring. I think like it's like her kit isn't really like you're not really rewarded leadership wise by doing damage to the opponent, right? It's more like you're just trying to play the game of MCP, right, and try to score out like you know consistently, and hopefully you're not at a deficit while doing so. And I
yeah.
think the token also gives her like a lot of freedom to be able to rotate a lot of points, so that's really nice.
Yeah. It's very cool. Like, it's a really cool. The token's really interesting, and I know it's been like good and bad over time. Like, kind of switched. You know, I think like wasn't it really good at one point?
I mean,
Um,
it depends on what's being run in the meta, right? So like
right.
if
Well,
it's
that's what I mean.
yeah, if we're like in a environment with a bunch of peta flips, right? Like that can be kind of hard to
Yeah.
like you can't utilize the token there, right? And conversely, like Gamma, like Demons Downtown, right? Well, like this leadership kind of almost does nothing a lot of the times
Yeah.
because it's so easy to just like walk in and get rid of the token, for the opponent.
For
So
sure, and the two leaderships are kind of designed. I mean, like it at least looks like they were intended to be run together, so you could switch and adapt.
yeah,
In a Brotherhood list.
I think so. Yeah, I guess my question would be like, how often do the models crossover and like which ones they want? And I think there's a couple good players that are able to interact with both objectives. Like, okay, um,
Yeah. Well, Mystique definitely synergizes with Magneto's leadership. I don't know about vice versa, but
right?
um,
Yeah, I don't see Magneto using a move action to like put a secure token down on things unless he really had to, and that's a rough
yeah,
time if that's the case. But yeah, the expert sabotage does give her some synergy with Magneto, which is really nice. And Mystique will typically be a character that has like a ton of power because like she doesn't really spend any power for any of her kit outside of the expert sabotage, right? So if you're not expert
right.
sabotaging, you're probably going to have 10 power on her like at some point in the game.
She's a good patch up candidate.
Right, yeah. If you're running patch up, for instance, like
Yeah.
like Mystique, like obviously can pay for it, and with her mobility, like she can go and take care of that, which is really nice. Um, the only tactics card currently that's legal is Stolen Identity, which is the fixed version of Deception. So the current version of Stolen Identity is that you choose an enemy character without an activated token within 4 of this character. Um, and then if there's no other like non-dazed enemy characters within 2 of the chosen character, you can advance chosen character at speed towards this character. Um, Effectively a very powerful like tactics card, but the enemy does now have a lot of good ways to counterplay it. So you just need to make sure that anyone that you're kind of afraid of like losing them to the Mystique advance, you just need to make sure they're within 2 of a friend, right? Um, and that's good counterplay. And the fact that
Mm.
they must not have been activated means that you can't like do this to somebody that overextended themselves in any way, right? Anywhere.
Yeah.
So
I will shout out here to I actually did get to use the Malekith Mystique Deception originally when I
mhm.
first started playing. It was gross.
Yeah.
I want to pour one out for my old.
Yeah, deception was not okay. Like, so they needed to fix it. So Stolen Identity is very much a fixed version of that. So like,
Yeah.
um, I'm curious to see like how often people will use it. Personally, it's been hard to use than expected. So I think I've kind of like put it off as my like 11th card situation. Like that's kind of slow. I was like maybe if there's something else to put in, but like it seems like a lot of cards like edge it out these days for me personally.
Yeah, it's like super situational, and yeah, I feel like you'd have to. It's so fringe. You'd have to really make a strong case to bring it, and I don't even know what that would be. You know what I mean? Like, well, if this happens, it'd be really useful. Like
Yeah,
if you had, I don't know, if you had Splash and Gwenpool or something in your list, and you like could just switch it out. You know, I don't know.
right.
But yeah, it's definitely a little bit harder to pull off. Like, if I guess if the meta was going like four wide a lot of times, and you hadn't like Mystique, and like the mission spread out was like a little wider, or even on that new one, right, with like the zone of influence, you could like, I don't know, if the shape ends up like extending out like a D or something like that, then you can like maybe pull someone off and like deny a point or something. But even then, that's like super fringe. So
Yeah, and like I said, because they can't have an activated token, right? That character will still be able to go sometime that round, right? Unless,
yeah, and like reposition themselves. Yeah, that's true.
yeah, unless you manage to daze or KO them either with Mystique, or you can also play this outside of Mystique's activation. It just has to be one of your active turns to play it. So the real usage is like if you can find somebody that's outside of two of their friends, hold them in Mystique, and then actually go into an actual killer, like
With
let's
like a
say,
damage dealer.
yeah, let's say like a Sabretooth or like a Magneto or something like that, then that feels like pretty good, right?
Or Gambit.
Or Gambit,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, it's otherwise like you do find it difficult to like figure out the utility of when to use this card. So that's
Yeah.
my short take on that one. All
Yeah,
right.
absolutely. So we're gonna walk through the characters by threat. We're doing tactics cards at the same time, correct?
Yeah. So
Okay.
what we'll do is that if characters have a team up card, we'll try to talk about the characters as a pair, um, and then talk about the tactics card, like if so. Otherwise, we'll just also go over the tactics cards for any of them solo, if it's relevant, you know. And
Okay.
there's quite a bit of tactics cards like between all these characters. Actually, there's been
Should
some.
we first go over the? We should go over the Brotherhood affiliated ones first, and then talk about characters by threat, and then talk. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah,
I just,
sure.
yeah,
So
that's just a better way to do it, so you kind of know how to synergize.
yeah, so for tactics cards first, you want to go through. Let's see, Asteroid M. I guess would be the first one we can talk about.
Oh, it's an excellent card.
Yep, Asteroid M is really really good. So, two Brotherhood Union players characters will just spend 2 power each, and you get to place one of them within range one of the other. They just have to be not holding an objective token if you're teleporting with that character. So
Yep, feels bad when you use it on Avalanche, huh, Jan?
I had plans. Okay.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, it's a great card. I've seen that. I mean, if you ever play, it's kind of like one of the mistakes, to be honest with you. Refraction and then Asteroid M.
Yeah, I think for Magneto specifically, it's also really
Yeah, for
important.
Magneto.
Yeah, I know some players like to Astro Dem like round one, and I kind of don't like that because like once you use it, you know he's kind of just stuck like out there. I like to save it as a late game reposition for like a lot of characters. You know, if you feel like they're needed in a separate spot, they need to rotate to a spot to help out the team in some way. So
Yeah, the most effective uses I've seen of Asteroid M are usually like later game, when you're really being punished. You know, like a
yeah,
swing turn or something when you can just run away with the scoring. So
yeah, agreed. And that may or may not like actually encourage you to pick up something with Magneto, depending on like what role you have within him in mind. Because as long as he doesn't have an objective, right, he's able to be teleported using Asteroid M, and that can also fix a lot of his mobility placement issues.
yeah, I mean he's kind of stuck there wherever that is for the rest of the game. But you know, if it's scoring, if it's smart to do that for scoring purposes, then definitely.
I mean, you could be teleporting him into the middle of a scrum, right, that has like a ton of characters that he can like
Oh,
throw
sure.
through. Yeah,
I know, but like if you're on a slightly wider map, like if you're, for example, if you're on a B shape, like he may not be leaving that flank you put him on, so you got to be careful. You know?
well, yeah. So let's say the B shape, right? You can use him like he owns the left side of the flank, right? He takes out everybody that he needs to, or just like really puts him on the back foot, right? And then
Mhm.
the other team like transfers a lot of their characters to the right flank. Well, now you can if you didn't pick up anything with Magneto, you could now transfer him to the right flank, right, to do an equal amount of work there, right?
I also like this idea for fusing flank. So say you are using Magneto to go after an extract holder early game, and instead of like giving away, it's kind of like a really hidden way to like refuse flank. You know what I mean? Like say you got two on one side, you end up like kind of getting both on that side. Magneto gets the third, and you have the extract, uh, whatever lead. you can use Asteroid M to like, oh, he can't be holding extra shit.
Yeah, yep.
Man, this is
So
my second fluff this episode. I'm sorry, people.
it's okay. To be fair, Bork, I think there was a version of Asteroid M probably like that was like that, and it was like,
They're like, this
oh,
is too strong.
this is not okay. We have to
Okay.
fix this.
But you can use it to say you are having a secure flank on it. Let's just use the B map. One of your sides of the Madman you're holding two already, and you teleport them in to like get that third and then rotate out or something.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. I really like this on a pay to flip. So like Madman is like a great example of that, right? You can flip a bunch of stuff, then use as the teleport in, and like do some work on the other side, right?
yeah.
So
as long as you go boop boop when you flip things.
Right. It's really important you make the sound effect. It's really imperative.
In fact, if you don't do it, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Questionable. All right. So the next card for Brotherhood affiliation, it does require. Or you want to keep talking about Asteroid M?
No. I think default to please we can kind of table until.
Oh yeah. What's the next one you want to talk about?
Yeah. Let's see. Genetic superiority. We'll hold off until we talk about Exodus. Let's talk about Book of Truth. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Book of Truth. This is also an oldie, but a pretty decent
Actually,
one.
the books of truth.
The books of truth. Yeah.
So there's more than one.
Sorry, Mystique is holding only one book in there, so like I'm sorry.
There's one in her pocket, man.
Oh, right.
It's hidden,
Right. So when an allied Brotherhood Mutants character is attacking or defending at the end of the modified dice step of the attack before calculated success or failure step, it may spend 2 to play this card. The character rerolls all of their attack or defense dice, including skull results. So it's like half a recal, it looks like.
Yeah.
Which is good. It sort of, it gives you essentially an Eye of Agamotto, right? For like one instance, basically.
Yep.
So you have to reroll all the dice, but your skulls are unlocked for that, which is really nice. And you can really lock in if you're doing offensively, right? If the opponent is locked into a very bad defense roll, and you're like, crap, I wish I converted more dice. Well, it's like, well, okay, maybe this is worth paying the 2 power, right? To do so. It's really,
I think
really just to fix your dice.
It does look like she is stealing maybe a Doctor Strange book, so maybe there's some overlap, some crossover here.
Might be. It looks like the big X in the background means it's probably in the menu.
No. That's definitely Doctor Strange's.
Okay.
He just like really likes the letter X. That's a pretty solid card. I don't know if it makes your 5 that often, but like
I think it might make the 10 depending on the matchup potentially. Having half a recal can be pretty good sometimes depending on the matchup, I think.
Yeah, no, for sure. And like we've seen how, with the prominence of strange defenders, you've definitely seen how effective a reroll everything can be.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. The next card we can talk about that is pretty character agnostic is called The Pawns Go First. So this is an interesting card where it's supposed to sort of help your little guys, help out one of your bigger threat characters. So let's see. During the cleanup phase, any number of allied Brotherhood mutant characters with the threat value of 3 or less may pay 1 to play this card. Each character that play this card may choose an allied Brotherhood mutants character with a threat value of 5 or greater within range 3, and choose one of the following options below. Resolve each option completely before choosing the next. So this is an often misinterpreted one. Okay, so you advance the pawn, the smaller threat character, to the chosen larger threat character. Okay, I had some players misinterpret this as you moving the larger threat character to the smaller character. That is not what this is. If it is, Magneto would take this card every time. So unfortunately, folks, listeners, that is not how this works. But the next 2 things do actually help out the larger threat character. So you can also remove 1 damage and 1 special condition from the chosen high threat character, or the chosen character gets a power. So I think most of the time you're probably going to pay for, I think, either the movement or the healing. The 1 power I think is kind of most of the time, in my opinion, unless you really needed to make a certain threshold for a certain
It's a really weird card. I feel like they could have worded this better. But here we are. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, okay, but yeah, basically this is just for you to have your 3 threat or below characters, right?
So to summarize it, basically a 3 threat pays 1 within 3 of a 5 threat.
Yep.
and the 3 threat either advances, or you remove a damage special condition, or to the 5 threat, or you give the 5 threat a power.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And any number of your 3 threats below can pay for, but they must be Brotherhood mutants. So it also depends on like how much you're in the affiliation, right? So
Hmm.
I think it's really funny that Lady Mastermind is in this art, but she cannot participate in either of these things. um, but yeah, so like if your team does consist of like Blob, Pyro, Toad, Mystique, like with like Exodus, it's like yeah, you can all contribute to helping Exodus be even more unkillable, for instance.
Yeah, I mean, I like the blob moving S is like kind of a huge deal.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, Toad and Pyro, that is super contextual, I guess, depending on what you're using them for.
yeah. I think
Um,
the card is pretty good flavor wise, but I think to get meaningful like translation of like points right out of this card is kind of difficult. So, and I think there's just
yeah,
other Brotherhood cards that are just tend to be taken more often on top of your restricted cards, right? In most squad matches.
yep. So I guess moving to the actual characters.
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of characters and a lot of cards to get through, so we'll try to keep them relevant while we're
Not as
within
many as
the.
our other episodes, though, which is kind of nice.
Mm,
All right, so we'll start with we're going from bottom up, right? I'm
yep.
guessing. Okay,
So
so
Death Toad.
F Toad, exactly. So you use Toad in APOC. No, also like he's just every. I mean, do we have to spend that much time on Toad?
No,
You know,
so for again, if you're a first time listener, like yeah, Toad is a 2 threat that's affiliated in Brotherhood. He is probably the premier 2 threat in this game that's very extract focused. He's got the
yeah.
ability to interact with objectives, secures or extracts from range 2, which is really good for pay to flips, or if you just need to go and safe grab something because he's a wall crawler with medium move on a small base. But the extra 2 that range 2 interact allows him to pick up stuff that he normally doesn't. So for instance, like
Or per chance, maybe he can interact with source extracts really well too.
yes, exactly. If something's like just a little bit off the midline, I think he can move up. If he's deployed straight across, he can walk up once, and then interact with it from range 2. So, for instance, like the scroll mission, right? The scroll that's closer to your side of the board, right? He can just walk up once and pick it up if he's deployed right across from it, which is a really flexible thing to have. Um, Additionally, he's able to also consolidate extracts onto him. You can't hold more than the mission calls for. But for instance, like let's say you have Magneto pick up something, right, and you really want him to ask for them. Well, what Toad can do is that he can go and use Finders Keepers, right, to take the extract from Magneto. So as long as it's a friend, right, within range 2, he can spend action and 2 power to just grab an extract from a friend. And then, therefore, now Magneto is now free to go ahead and do the Ask for Them, for instance. So, yeah.
Yep. He's got a cute card with Blob too. Called
Yeah.
Leapfrog.
Yep.
You can use this in APOC, FYI, if that ever is like something you want to do. But
I think there's definitely like going to be like places where you'll see Blob more often, especially as maps get tighter. So like I wouldn't discount this card like at all.
yeah, so it just like after Toad deals damage with an attack, they each spend 1, and Blob advances. He basically backs up Toad and comes in and punches after Toad takes damage. So
Yep.
It's kind of like another one of those, the clapbacks. Like we all know the Zemo clapback where you're like, do I hit Zemo? I'm alive on 1, and then he kills you and it ends your activation. You can use that like situationally for this. So I actually don't think it's a terrible card.
Oh no! It's a Toad has to deal damage, not the damage dealt to Toad.
Oh, well, it's an advanced S on Blob, so there you go.
Yeah.
Third mistake.
I mean, so if we want to sidetrack to APOC for a second, like Death Toad actually like doing damage is actually not that crazy, right? To activate this card, for instance.
Well, Toad Spender does some damage sometimes. Like the 6 dice energy is no joke.
5 dice.
4th. I'm sitting here wearing a Hawaiian t-shirt. All right, like I'm on vacation.
I understand. This is not non-reading, Stephen. Like he can. You'll just make up rules. Like
I'm staring at the art. All right, it's great art. So whatever the words say.
Take that, Scott Summers. Got your glasses. So, a couple things to know about this card is the fact that, like, Blob can move in any direction and make the strike down against anybody. Like, he doesn't have to actually strike the person that Toad dealt damage to, you know?
Oh, fair
So,
enough.
and there's no range ban on this either, right? So Toad could be all the way across from the other side of the board, right? And Blob still gets to move like S and attack. So like it's interesting, like from a versatility standpoint.
Yeah, it's very versatile. I like that.
Yeah. But let's
All right.
talk about Blob then. In that case, since we're mentioning Leapfrog. All right.
Okay.
As a premier APOC player, Borg, have you actually played Blob at all in
Well, I
APOC?
played a lot of games with APOC, so yes, I have put Blob on the table.
What do you
I
think
was
about
never a
Blob?
huge fan. I was
Okay.
never a huge fan. I know like there were certain situations that were kind of nice. I liked him into webs, but like it wasn't enough. That matchup like wasn't worrisome enough to justify bringing Blob. Um, so I never did. Like, and then when Gambit got his change, it's just like, well, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because he's fighting. He in APOC, he was kind of fighting for the famine slot, which realistically, Deadpool and Gambit did better, and then Pestilence. It doesn't actually make sense for him to be Pestilence. So,
Yep.
so yeah, he's the character. Like, he's really good in a tight spot. I've used him. I really like. I'm just thinking under Magneto or something where he might.
Yeah.
I don't know
So
if he benefits from either leadership that much.
well, okay. So basically, like I like to think. So okay, Blob is like a small base, or sorry, medium base small mover, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he does have a really good spender that allows him to one displace people, but also be able to move himself, right? And Thunder Splash only costs 3 power. It's range 3, 7 dice physical. Before damage is dealt, you get to place within one of the target character, and then you also have Explosive Force, right, which is one of the best triggers in the game because it displaces everybody else within range 2 of Blob, and it's Sizeless Push as well, and they also suffer damage.
Yeah, Namor has that, right?
No, his actually requires let's see.
One of the forms is like that though.
Yeah, I
No, because
guess
they're pushed from the targeted character, so it's
yeah,
slightly different.
yeah, because this one also pushes the original character you attacked as well, assuming they're
Yeah,
within range
yeah,
2.
because they push away from Blob, not from who you're attacking. So
Correct, yeah.
it's
It's like
better than Namor's spender.
yeah, with the Thunderous Force, right? Like as long as you position Blob in a decent way, like you should be able to win a secure objective, right? From just that alone, I think.
Yeah,
So
he's really. I mean, he is really good. Like as if you have spender money, right, and you get that online.
yeah, so
Last
so
activation, Blob's super good.
yeah, so if you think about it, like if you consider Magneto and to lesser extent Mystique as power leaderships, right? There's a chance that he is able to get to that 3 power like quicker. So as you destroy terrain with Magneto, you can just put 1 power on him each time, right? And so just with 2 pieces of terrain destroyed, is able to get that spender like online. He himself also is a 3 threat that is able to throw terrain, which also synergizes with the Magneto leadership, so that he's also able to pass power around for his friends. He's got a unique like damage reduction, right? So if you suffer damage from an attack, you can pay 1 for the reactive, reduce damage by 1 to a minimum of 1, and then this is really cool. If the attacker is within 3 of Blob, Blob can push the attacking character away S, and again, it's a sizeless push that's reactive, which is interesting.
Mm. It's really that particular superpower I do like really is pretty solid on him actually.
Yep. And
Um,
he's got one innate trait that's interesting, so he cannot be pushed or thrown by the results of attack special rules. So, for instance, like Miles can't do a web kick, right, to throw him. And
yeah,
then Strange, right, who is very relevant in this current meta, even though he has not great energy defense, the fact that the multiple development can't actually push Blob is actually kind of interesting to me.
yeah. If he doesn't just get one shot, but
Right. I mean, yes. Even though you have 2 energy defense, like let's say you're under Magneto's like magnetic refraction, right, and you also have the DR
yeah,
online,
yeah,
like you might actually be okay most of the time. I think.
yeah. I think in Brotherhood, Blob becomes like slightly tankier than like APOC even, like because you don't really want to necessarily use your APOC faction rerolls on. I don't know. You can skull out. It's really easy to skull out, but
Yeah.
like with the counting cover and whatever, like it's probably a little bit more tanky than under, just like slightly more tanky. I don't know the math on it under Magneto, but
Yeah, I'm just aircrafting at the moment, but I think if the Sentinels Crisis are having us have tighter, more engaging maps, right? I think Blob might be more relevant now in your Brotherhood 10 squad,
yeah,
especially depending on the matchup, right? But just like I said, anything that pushes a Sentinel, I think, is pretty sweet, especially if it's on a 3 threat body.
Yeah, absolutely. No, so like you asked at the beginning if I ever use him. Like I've always liked Blob's card. It just like didn't ever feel like the right time, you know, or meta.
Mm-hmm.
But it is like seeming like we're walking into like maybe a meta where Blob is definitely like a really solid tech piece for Brotherhood.
Yep. And for listeners, I am clarifying that by say push shadows, I mean by the explosive force. They can't push from the ha 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 that tickles. Okay.
Did you say that again, Jim?
Uh,
All right.
do you want
No,
me
moving
to?
on. For sake of time, no, let's just keep it.
I could do a dryer if you want.
Okay, so that's Toad, Blob. You're jumping around.
Yep.
So we move to Avalanche.
Yep. A for Avalanche. Let's go.
All right, Avalanche. I want to shout out here, and Mike, if you're listening, this is like one of the best characters I think Brotherhood has to offer. His splashability is just insane. Like you're gonna see him everywhere. I was gonna do that on Shadow King, but we're doing it on Avalanche. I'm joking.
So
Although I do think he's an underappreciated 3 threat sometimes.
yeah, so I think Avalanche himself is actually like very like he's a very normal guy, right? Like he doesn't have a
Yeah.
lot of like action compression or anything. It's a small base, medium move, so very like normal stat line for mobility. But what he does do is he gains power very reliably because he's got a beam 3 gainer that just stuns once in a while. Um, his area 2 costs 3 for 5 dice, not much, but it auto stuns, so there's nothing you need to hit. So if you really just need to like just crap out at basically a bunch of stun conditions, like he's your guy that can do it. But the landslide, I think his superpower is really good, where you pick an enemy character size 4 or less within range 3 and you push them away S. You only use once per turn, so it's kind of like a reverse web line situation, right? And normally, because of his stat block and his range stack, if you were to play across from somebody right on the midline, you can walk once, hit him with the seismokinesis gainer, and then you can landslide right afterwards because you're just automatically going to have the 2 power to be able to push them, which is really nice. So
Yeah, he seems fair. Like this character is very fair. If MCP was all fair, he'd be really good.
right, yeah. And that's the thing. Like Avalanche, like is kind of like maligned right now because he just seems too fair, right, as a character.
Yeah.
He does have the ability to also like hit you for collision damage if you end advance within range 3 of him, and then he can spay 3 power to destroy an interactive terrain feature within 2 of the enemy character of size 3 or less. And so you suffer the three damage collision that you have to dodge, basically. Because it's an advance, though, like it's a little harder to combo this with Magneto specifically. There's a lot of other characters that can advance characters in this affiliation. So I just think that, it's a little weird that, you would think that Avalanche and Magneto would have more synergy together, but they kind of don't. Because Magneto can push people, right? So it would have been really cool if you can push people with Magneto, and the Beware of Falling Debris like triggers on a push, but it doesn't. It's only on advances. So he actually lines up better with like the psychic characters, right? In this, so like Emma, who we talk about later on, and things like that can actually give you advances during a activation.
Yeah, that makes sense. He was in a cartoon I was watching that I think Simon recommended, one of the earlier, like the X-Men run from the 90s. He's like such a douchebag in it, but that's irrelevant.
Absolutely. Let's see. He's got a team up card with Pyro. So shall we talk about Pyro?
Okay.
Have you gotten to play any Pyro at O'Bork?
Have I played Pyro in the 2.5 years I've played MCP? Yes.
Yep.
Who hasn't? Let's be honest.
Man, yeah, he's really annoying under Steve 1, where he's got the firewall. Superpower. It costs 2 normally. It gives out a root and it gives out a slow for just 2 power, which is really good.
Or perhaps chance if you're playing a bigger 8 threat, he's also someone who I've considered.
Yeah, Pyro's interesting. Like he's definitely like is a debuff machine, right? So he's got a bunch of attacks that just give out incinerate. I think every attack he has just gives out incinerate in some way. So either every single one, yeah. Either you get it on a trigger, or for the spender you just get it automatically, I think. Which is pretty sweet. And he's also got a passive called fire manipulation. So like after attack resolved, and if the enemy character has incinerate, you can have that incinerate get copied onto another enemy character within range 2 of the target. So like, as he's like lighting your characters on fire, he probably is also putting another character on fire. So very
It like
quickly.
chains out.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Then he's also got Stoke the Flames. So for 3 power,
Stroke the flames.
Stoke.
Yep.
Yep.
He can add 2 dice to his. I wish this episode's coming out around Valentine's Day. But anyways, he can add for 3 power. He adds 2 dice to his attack rolls, which is like pretty significant because you hit some breaking points with like 7 dice range 4.
Yep.
Which is no friggin' joke handing out incinerate. Which like by the time you hit 3 power, you've probably already been handing out a couple of incinerates, right? But
yeah, it doesn't hurt. Yeah, so 7 dice from range 4 is really good. So also this is buffing an attack action, not just an attack. So that means that the flame jet gainer that he has, that beam 4 dice, it becomes
666 or however many times you get off.
Yeah, so it's 6 dice for all the attacks under that flame jet that you boosted. So
I did not notice that before. So
yeah, it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's really good. And like we talked a little bit about Firewall, but Firewall, he's like this weirdly like he's like an offensive piece, but also sort of a control piece. It's a really cool 3 threat, to be honest.
Yep. He doesn't have any displacement natively onto his character card, but he does have Pyrotechnics, which is a really good tactics card. So
this is a super good tactics card. But we should talk about Fault Line first because that's how we got here.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. So let's talk about Fault Line first because that's okay. So during the power phase, an allied Avalanche and an allied Pyro may spend 1 each to play this card. This round, Avalanche and Pyro increase the range of their Seismokinesis and Flame Jet attacks to beam 5.
Beam 5.
Yep. So they become beam 5 instead of their normal dice. Now, my thing is that they're just a bunch of 4 die attacks. I mean, Pyro can certainly make it like bigger. He can make
for 1 off Avalanche and 4 off Pyro, you could have like a range 5 beam 6. I don't know how much that's worth it. Just move, I guess.
I think the problem is like 1, you're not sure if the attacks are going to do anything at the end of the day, right? And also Pyro he's able to spend his power like so quickly that I'm not sure if he's going to have the power economy to actually pay for this. I think it's more likely that Avalanche may have it, but 4 dice being 5 is not a very large effect for a tactics card. So this to me is going to fall into like good flavor, but and art's pretty sick as well.
Yeah,
but, I don't.
He's definitely stroking the flames there.
Oh yeah, 2 hands at the same time.
Happy Valentine's Day. But anyways, the card's not that flavorful, but
I would say it's safely, unless you're playing some kitchen table Marvel, you can probably safely like not worry about Fault Line for one of your slots. Personally,
the card you should worry about though is Pyrotechnics. This card is friggin' awesome.
Yeah, you want to? Would you like to read through Pyrotechnics?
Yeah, I've used this before and tried to give people advice. Like Kenny was playing me recently and like had Pyro in his Mephisto list, which isn't a terrible include. I actually kind of liked it. But he like misplayed slightly Pyrotechnics, and I was like, next time, can you do this? But anyways, Pyro may, hey Kenny, happy birthday. It's everybody's birthday. Pyro may spend X to play this card. For each power spent, choose an enemy character with the incinerate condition within 3 of Pyro. Each chosen character drops 1 objective token it is holding and is pushed away S. This is actually, I know we're talking about Brotherhood here, but this is actually really good late game Mephisto play as well. Because you're under Mephisto leadership, you're handing out incinerates, right? So at a certain point in time, most of the extract holders will have it, so you can kind of use this as like, and it's so I want to make this clear too. Each character drops the objective token and is pushed away, so you can kind of like bubble this out. Like even like a play pattern could just be like, say 2 characters are holding an objective, like walk, medium move up, Pyro, techniques this. Grab an extract, walk back, and then push the other characters away. It's like a super good control play. So,
yeah, and I imagine like this is probably potentially maybe even meaner with source extracts because you're pushing them away. Maybe you're like putting them out of range, right, to easily pick up a source extract next round as well.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, if they've already activated, for sure.
Yeah, and this is again sizeless push, right? So any kind of sizeless push is always like pretty sweet. So
fuck you, Sentinels.
Yeah, you can certainly like splash to make this give more instances of incineration like within the list. Because I think it's only him and Lady Mastermind that can pin down incinerates, which might be just enough actually for
Yeah,
our
but
purposes.
under Brotherhood too, it's like at minimum you could probably get this off on one extract holder, and then it's only one power to play anyway. So it's, it is a really solid card because if it's versatility to like have either a super big impact under like affiliations that love incinerate, or even just under Brotherhood. Just I mean he hands it out like it's hot though too. So if you bring Pyro, like chances are one of the extract holders is going to have incinerate, right?
Yeah, exactly. And
Um,
he spreads up fire really the incinerator really easy because of the fire manipulation innate that he has.
And so speaking of fringe situations too, but because I'm just thinking about this new mission, there is a really cool play with him where you kind of just that 2 point extract where you need a buddy. You can
Yep.
walk up with Pyro, hit them with the Fire Blast, and I don't know, maybe Dice Fix so you make sure you get like the wild or something. But if you get that wild, after the buddy has just grabbed the extract, you can incinerate both, right?
Yeah,
So gives you a really nice like kind of like because they're going to be there, right? So he's got some play on that extract, I think.
I think so. Yeah, like it'll be interesting to see like how people can punish the salvage shipments or whatever that mission was called.
Yeah,
So
and I think over time on these episodes over the next few months with at least MCP content, random things will just pop in our heads about how to play on these missions as we practice them, right? So there's some interesting. I definitely think in that one, I don't remember what it's called or anything, but like I can see that being like pretty
yeah,
powerful play. So, anyways,
salvage supplies fuel resistance efforts. We're gonna have to get used to these new names.
salvage.
Yep.
Let's already make them acronyms. So,
Yep.
okay, or that's not even an acronym, but so Toad, Avalanche, Pyro, Mystique. So I guess we talk about Gambit.
Yes, let's talk about Gambit.
This jumping around thing is slightly more confusing than maybe we intended it to be. But
Okay, let's talk about Gambit. So first, Bork, as a known Gambit enthusiast,
am I known for that?
I he was an APOC, so I assume you have an opinion on Gambit.
Yeah, he's good. He's really good, obviously. After the changes, I mean, he was everywhere for a while, like whenever that was, the fall. Um, yeah, I don't know. Gambit's good. Like he counts wilds, he can convert to wilds if he rolls hits. He's
Yeah.
a damage machine, and sometimes he just rolls 3 wilds on his defense and lives through everything too. So
Yep. Now he's not like consistently offensive like he would be in Apocalypse, but I still think like he has quite a bit of utility in Brotherhood. So like I think under like the magnetic refraction or either Mystique, like allowing you to pick up and get a power refunded, means that like most time I think Gambit just takes like one damage and he's able to sort of like enhance agility away after he does the initial pickup. Now I like him a lot as a midline grabber, like as long as you can get some cover of some kind
mm-hmm.
with him. He seems pretty good, and obviously his offensive output's really good because like this guy attacking, defending, or dodging gets like counts 2 successes for each wild he rolls. So like there'll be games where like Gambit's like unkillable and like just killing everything. But there's also sometimes he just dies because he's got 5 health.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but that's where you have like your magnetic refractions hopefully come into play. You also have potentially the book of the books plural of truth, right? To hopefully save him in that
If
case.
there was only one book, it wouldn't be as good of a card. It'd be like re-roll everything except skulls or something.
Yeah.
It's the multiple books that really impacts that card's ability to re-roll skulls.
Yep.
Uh, yeah, I agree with you in terms of like grabbing an extract. I mean, it's obviously more risky than Death Gambit or something, or even one of the Death APOC Gambit, because you don't have access to rerolls. But
Yep.
yes, with the cover and magnetic refraction, like it feels like decently okay to pick up an extract midline with him.
Yeah, and he's also probably a good candidate as well. So for the Asteroid M, right? So if he doesn't have an extract on him, you can also like get him into like a area that you need a lot of backup offensively with, and he can certainly dish out quite a bit, right? On zone as well.
And I think the thing that's also true of Gambit, if you haven't used him before in general and anywhere, is like when this guy gets going, he generates power like it's crazy. After he gets going with like a bow staff or kinetic or solid kinetic ace, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, the bow staff, like, to review, is like, it's guaranteed. Well, not guaranteed, but it's pretty guaranteed, right? Because since you convert any hit result, like, or hit result to a wild, you can get that size 3 push,
Mm-hmm.
which is really good. Then there's also kinetic ace. You get the explosive that can also do splash damage, and sometimes, like, you leave people alive on 1 as our moniker.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, if there's a friend within that they have within 2, you can hit them, have the explosive trigger off of them, and then hit the character that was on 1 health, right? And that can finish people off, which is very,
Yep.
very cheeky.
Yep.
So
Yeah, solid character. You probably heard about him a lot recently.
yeah,
His
he's
cards are interesting, I guess, but
yeah. We can say that Charming Thief is a doesn't let you steal. It just gives you power, which is like, okay, that's neat. But I feel like you should get a bigger effect for tactics cards. So Charming Thief, unfortunately, doesn't usually make the cut because it just gives Gambit like 1 extra power here and there. And I'm not sure if giving a Soul Stone for 1 round is really that particularly impressive, personally.
hey, but if you really want to do it, you can.
Yes, yes. Um,
um,
the one that you may see some play, depending on like where the meta shifts, might actually be not Charming Thief, but Dark Past.
yeah, this card's always interested me. Like I've looked at this more than once with APOC.
Yeah,
It
just
never
giving
quite,
AOE stealth for a round, right? Which is
yeah,
interesting.
it never quite made the thing. But like Kingpin's affiliation has a card that does like stealth 2 or whatever, stealth range 2, which I've always also always like kind of looked at, whatever that one's called. So like Dark Pass is interesting. So if you're taking him in Brotherhood, you do have access to this card too. So um, I feel like it is situational, but like it's situational enough where you can kind of predict if you can pull this off after you choose missions. So it's not out of the realm of possibility where this makes it to your 10 and then comes up in certain scenarios, you know?
Yeah, I think for the current, or sorry, I should say the upcoming source extracts, right? A lot of them will have you pretty much engaged like very closely, though.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll probably see less Dark Pass in this particular crisis rotation, I think.
Right.
But certainly, like, this is something that's always in the back of your mind. Like, if something changes environmentally, crisis wise, that will spread a lot of people out, then Dark Pass, I think, has some utility, there.
Yeah. Just like the Kingpin card to some extent.
Yep.
Any kind of, I think those are the Kingpin one, whatever. We don't have to talk about it, but I'm trying to remember the name of it.
Oh, Shadow Organization?
Yeah, that's the one. Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Um,
We talked about Mutant Trader in the X-Men episode because, like, that's a really a
yeah, skip
bishop.
it.
If you're splashing bishop, it's a good card. So,
There you go.
we'll leave it at that.
Listen to our 3 hour long X-Men feature. So
Yes.
I'm trying to not make this one go 3 hours.
Yeah.
But
That is not possible, sir. Anyway, but we're gonna try.
okay.
You'll see if we're correct or wrong.
We're already over an hour, so
All right.
Toad, Avalanche, Gambit, Mystique. Let me do this manually. Pyro, so Quicksilver.
Yes.
How do you feel about Quicksilver, Jin? You're the one who's used this guy more.
Yeah, I was playing him in Inhumans where, like, he was pretty interesting with Black Bolt being the past power, and then he can just go and use the speedster to get a move again, and then, like, pick up something. Which is really good. He was able to grab, like, back Fs and stuff like that, which is, like, pretty crazy as far as like trying to get an extract like lead on people. But my general experience with Quicksilver is that he's kind of hard to get a lot of like usage out of mid to end game, because he doesn't have any displacement. So you can't really win points, and like he's only got a 4-die attack and a 6-die physical attack. So it's very hard for him to actually do a lot of good work. Like they run, like he's got an exciting
Dude,
trigger.
He's just running, man. He's going on a nice jog after he picks it up.
Okay, so like if you get a couple of characters like close to each other, right, enemy wise, right, and you hit the velocity on the supersonic strike, yes, like if you hit a bunch of like wild hits results that
on
just
4 days.
on 4 dice, yeah. I mean, like he's better with a hammer, obviously, like but he actually
that's gone.
But yeah, now that's going to be gone. The nanites, I think you can only use like once. I want to say, as far as like getting that dice buff.
So, alternatively, like kind of moving forward in this new whatever, he is kind of like someone. I know some of the missions, at least like one of them. I can't remember what it's called, but it's got that zigzag shape where they return, but you don't have to stay within a certain area. He's actually a pretty solid three threat to just like commit to moving up, grabbing, moving back. You know.
Yeah. Sorry. The nanites can be used multiple times in a round. I apologize. So
Okay.
yeah. So that
Yeah.
might be.
Also, apologize. We're talking about the new missions, and we haven't even done an episode or anything on them, but we all know they're out, so you can read them.
Yep. So yeah, Quicksilver. So the where I find Quicksilver the best personally has been pay to flip secures, right? Because I think because of his ability to sort of cover a lot of ground, right?
Yeah.
With enough power, he's able to make a lot of pay to flip attempts, right, across multiple like objectives. So
Yeah, he's a really good plate flipper for sure. Because like if you're already just running around, you might as well just like use your power to run around more. You know.
yeah.
Um.
So Can I Borrow That is his premier card, I think, that I really like.
Mhm.
Where if you make an attack with him and he does damage, you can pay 2 power, and if the enemy's holding an asset, like you basically get the asset. And so it's a steal, like, built into an attack basically. And you can see if the attack was successful or not before you play this card, which is nice.
Yeah. So.
Yep. So, but probably less good in this world of like source extracts. But if it's like a scientific sample or something that you can actually hold on to, for instance, I
Mhm.
think that's going to be very good for him. He's also got that Loki style, like Cash Me If You Can. So, like, he can, sort of like eye in the sky himself, essentially, which
Mhm.
is really nice. And, he's got the speedster power, which, this guy named Jin likes to talk about where, hey, you get this movement if you're not holding an extra. It must be good on source extracts. um, He's got wall crawler too, so having a long mover and wall crawler means that he should be able to just like dive any point on the map, essentially. Um,
Mhm.
I hope he gets more durable, and so at least he can like try to like get an extract and sort of hold on to it for the
Let that
round.
man run a little longer, right?
Let him run a little longer. Yeah, he's got sonic reflexes, so he's got the it's very basically spider sense. So you get the a couple rerolls for dodge rolls and attacks against energy and not mystic energy and physical.
Mhm.
So like he might be able to stay alive around longer if he got more health, but right now 5 health kind of is like precarious
You give
sometimes.
this guy a push, and he's basically a Web's character, to be honest.
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. So
Um. Speaking of like people whose superpower is super speed, it's a random tangent, but I was watching a Boys episode last night, and they like featured someone with that power, and it was an R-rated version of what I imagined Quicksilver to be. I don't
oh
want to spoil it or anything, but
oh yeah, A Train is
no,
a,
not.
is a
Oh yeah, I guess A Train's already. Oh damn it! They had another guy who was also fast.
there's another guy. Okay, all right,
Yeah, it's
that's
like the one before A Train in
all
the
right.
seven. So
Okay,
the boys aside,
so
Colossus
we should probably talk about let's see, Scarlet Witch. In that case, well, we'll jump around just a little bit for this one.
to a five threat though. I don't know how comfortable I'm jumping in. That's fine.
Man, I okay, all right. So Scarlet Witch, I think when she was first released, I think we're pretty excited. It's just that I think like design wise, like the closest equivalent I can think of is Blue Marvel, right? So like
Mhm.
the difference between Scarlet Witch and Blue Marvel is like kind of stark at this point, where like they both have the ability to like count skulls for successes, right? Attacking, dodging, or defending. Scarlet Witch is like 6/6 health, 3/4/4. Blue Marvel's 4/4/4 and 7/6 health, right?
Mhm.
So and they have similar attack profiles because they're turrets, right? They're range 4, 6 dice. This one, Scarlet Witch, every skull roll she has, that she can give somebody bleed, hex, incinerate, or poison, which is really good. Her spender is like pretty overcosted in my opinion. So it's like,
Six.
yeah, 6 power for an 8 dice attack. Yes, you're counting skulls, but like it's a lot to ask for
Mhm.
for this character. Whereas like Blue Marvels is like an area 2. That's 8 dice, but it only costs 5 power, and you can potentially like get rid of a lot of characters because not only does the air attack, but there's also a bunch of splash damage from this one. Whereas like Cruel Twist for Scarlet Witch, it's like, okay, yep, you get less defense dice, right?
The cruel twist is that Blue Marvel has a better spender.
Yep.
Dun, dun,
And
dun.
And there you have a skull pierce, basically. So
Yeah.
it's like, okay, yes, in theory, like you probably should do like pretty decent amount of damage, like with this. But man,
Yeah.
six power is like a lot because like
Especially
in
when
one.
she wants to be using telekinesis, probably.
Yep.
And Curse is really good.
Yeah,
Gives not a lot of characters give out judgment. I think there's like only a hand, like three. I think
I
last
think
time I
so. Yeah.
checked.
The ones I can think of automatically is just Scarlet Witch. There is
Ronan,
Ronin, and then there's more recently is Nova from Guardians of the
hmm
Galaxy.
and not
These,
Ronan, not Clint. Ronan, the from the first Guardians movie.
yeah, this is not going to get confusing like at all.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
the Inhuman Ronan. But anyways, back to Scarlet Witch.
Yeah. So the thing is also Scarlet Witch doesn't have any control, right? So she just has the ability to do damage to you because
Yeah,
telekinesis is only going to throw terrain at people, and
she's got
obviously,
control, but it's on a Texas card. To be fair.
okay, yes. And she also has the hex field, so like this is a interesting little gotcha where you can't shake off a hex, judgment, or poison when you're within 3 of her, which is
Yeah,
interesting.
it's the crystal sort of crystal thing. So,
Right? Yeah, yeah, similar thing, but just different status effects. Yeah.
mm.
Which one is the control card you want to talk about?
No more mutants. It's like control esque. Um, so she can spend 3 targets an enemy character within 5. And then she negates an enemy superpower, and it cannot be used again for the rest of the turn. It's a good card, like to be fair. They still spend the power too, so it's just like certain situations with the eye in the sky. So they pay the power. You no more mutants them. They can't use the power, and they also can't like try to use it again if they can. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's pretty good. So you can turn off like a big like throw or like a pull attempt. If you're against Ghost Spider, for instance, you turn off the web line for the entirety
Yeah.
of the turn. That probably would suck for her, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bill's trying to do damage reduction, right? Well, you can
Yeah.
turn off the damage reduction for like that turn, for
Yeah, that's
instance.
what I was gonna say. It's like versatile for attrition, or kind of like someone's trying to displace you with a superpower.
Yeah.
Not with an attack, it doesn't like do anything else. But you can also stop rerolls, right? So
Oh yeah. So
or
if like
buff dice.
you think of these characters with the recal, right? Like Kang and Adam Warlock,
Mm-hmm.
right? Just turning that off is like pretty sweet.
Yeah, no, it is definitely it's definitely sweet for sure. I mean, I think No More Mutants is a really strong card. It'd be stronger. No, I'm not going to say that. I'll say it at the end. But her other cards, let's not talk about that one.
Whims of Chaos, I can talk about really quickly.
Yeah.
Basically, you can spend any number of power to play this. Then for each character within 3, you can affect somebody for every power you spent. So if it's an enemy character, you can give them a Hex, Root, or Incinerate. If it's a friendly character, you can either remove a damage or remove condition from them, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, I think it's a really solid card. I mean, like, she wants to be. If her spender goes down, um, I don't think they'll ever add. I mean, I don't know if they'll. I don't really know this, but like, um, if they gave her the Blue Marvel throw, it feels bad that she doesn't have characters under that as well.
Yeah, I think probably a combination of like a health buff, to rejigger the cost of the Cruel Twist spender. And I don't know, I personally would love it if she can also like, throw people like Blue Marvel would.
Yeah,
It just seems like she doesn't do it quite enough, and I think the throw would go a long way to
yeah, like maybe reduce that spender to like 5 power even, and then like add the character throw. And I think Cricket's like pretty solid actually.
yeah. So
Oh, oh, and a
uh
health buff
yeah,
too.
at least one more health on the front side, I
Yeah,
think. So
I'm
we'll
just
see.
really glad. I don't know about you, but like I'm really happy she's just not part of convocation.
Oh, those are fighting words for certain people.
That's why I said them.
It's
Obey the thirst, Jeff. That's kind of
uh
an inside joke, but if you know Jeff, wear a Sprite shirt next time you see him and tell him Wanda shouldn't be part of combo.
yep. I would say the AMG please either like rules change Scarlet Witch or at least make her combo, Please,
In
please.
a more serious note, I really think she should be part of convocation. I don't understand why she's not, but here we are.
Here we are.
Um,
Okay. Now, because of that, we can reference the fact that some people are just difficult to please.
yeah.
Okay.
Um,
So difficult
Colossus.
to no. Where I'm talking about the Tetris card, difficult to please.
I thought you were talking about Jeff.
It's a lot of layers going on here for this one.
Yeah, difficult to please.
Difficult to please is not. I'll say straight up, it's not a card you'll see too often, but it's a really cool effect if you can actually get to go off. So, Brotherhood Mutants active card. Your Scarlet Witch has to daze or KO an enemy character, and Quicksilver has to have interacted or pick up an objective token this round. Then Magneto can play this card.
Maybe Terry can get this off on you now.
He probably will. Yeah. But I will say that with source extracts, right? There's more opportunities now for Quicksilver to interact, right? To get something. Mm-hmm. So the benefit of this is that you get the remove an activate token from Magneto, so Magneto can possibly go twice in one round, which will be pretty cool because obviously he has a high impact character, right? If he's in the right place.
Absolutely.
So
now we can go to Colossus.
Yeah, I would say difficult to please is kind of memey, but I might need to reevaluate it once we actually put the characters on the table for the new source extracts, especially if it's a bunch of midline ones.
And also once we see all the character changes, because if she's getting a health buff too, maybe taking her more often is a thing,
Yep.
So
Colossus. Yes.
Yeah, I really just want to talk about Colossus.
Yep.
They just redesigned him, I don't know, a year ago or something. I like Colossus. I don't know if he feels great in Brotherhood. I have no idea. Have you used him?
So basically he's a good anchor point model, right? So the immunity to pushes from enemy effects is really big.
On tighter maps, actually, now that we're moving into these new missions, I think Colossus is pretty solid there, because if he's not bodyguarding, he's gaining movement out of activation. So
yep. And he's also got solid displacement because he's got wild triggers on both his strike or his X-Slam spender, right? That can move people around. 6-7 health, doing the hand motion. He's pretty hard to kill actually, because on the backside he gets the Steve Rogers counts blanks, right? Except for against mystic attacks, but otherwise, it's kind of like a reverse. Or no, actually, it's very similar to Steve Rogers, right? You get the buff dice on your front side, but then on the back side you get the count blanks instead. So, sorry, I should reiterate. That's more like Black Panther 1. It's an opposite Black Panther 1 situation that we have here. And then he also has damage reduction from many effects. I know, Colossus is really hard to kill. He's an interesting control piece.
He's a good extract holder too. He doesn't gain power if people don't target him. In my experience, he doesn't gain a ton of if you don't target him, you bodyguard once, if he blocks it all, he still then doesn't gain any power, right? So you run in these situations sometimes where you really want him to take damage so he can keep bodyguarding, and then he just blocks like a champ. So
yeah, which is always pretty funny. It is kind of nice in both leaderships. You can walk up and pick an extract pretty early with them. Mm-hmm. Probably have power to do something relevant next round, right? Because I think typically most teams you pick up with him, and then he needs to build power, right, to get to the big brother, to be able to taunt for people.
Yeah.
So in both affiliation, in both leaderships, he should be able to get there round 2 anyway.
Yeah, that's true. In Brotherhood, I actually think Colossus feels better in Brotherhood than he does in APOC, and that's maybe controversial, but APOC I ran into more. I still took him a lot, but I definitely ran into some situations where I just said, he would block it, and then he'd start the next turn at 1 power, and then they'd just take out the other character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're okay. So I think under Brotherhood it solves a lot of that, and his playing catch kind of synergizes with Magneto super well, because he can throw and then also be a kind of a battery, for himself and for others. So
Yep. And his displacements are also omnidirectional as well, so that's also really nice that you have a lot of versatility and like where you want to move the opponent whenever you actually get
Yeah,
those
yeah,
displacements off.
good call out. You know, that's the thing that sometimes people ask you to read the card. They're like, "Wait, what?" They are omnidirectional. So,
Yep.
um,
So yeah, I don't know if they're gonna buff Colossus anymore, but like I think he feels pretty good. Like
I think
assuming
it's
you
a
can
good spot.
feed
Yeah,
him power. So I
and
think
we
under
won't talk
Mags,
about his card either because, like, that's the X-Men, really.
yeah, you can throw Wolverine. It's fun.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, if it's available, sure, go for it.
If you splash Wolverine in Brotherhood, then you have access to a cool throw-in Wolverine card.
Yep. Let's
um,
see, Emma Frost.
Emma, oh boy, she's so good.
Emma's Bay. She's really good.
She's
The glow up.
Dragon Bay.
Yep, she is. The glow up was real. The new design is very good. I've had a lot of fun with Emma being able to switch back and forth between normal and diamond form. Like you're kind of encouraged to do so because the opportunity cost is a lot less
Mm-hmm.
now. Typically, she's going to spend all of her power like pretty quickly between like the telepathic lash, shield mines, or like in her diamond form, she's going to be like doing either the terrain character throw or the spender like pretty often. I think.
Yep. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't have a ton to say. She's a really, really good character. The changes they made to her were super friggin' good, and I think as a fourth threat, she's in any affiliation she's affiliated. She's definitely worth taking in your 10.
Yep. So normal side has power inhibition. So like Mystique Shapeshifter, the enemy characters do not get to do reactive superpowers or tactics cards like while she's going, which is really good. And then she has basically displacement on both her builder, her spender, and also the superpower telepathic lash. Like these are all
Mm-hmm.
ways you can move your opponent around. So as long as they don't have a quote unquote helmet, right, style where you ignore advances or pushes from mystic attacks or superpowers, like you're in a pretty good spot
Yeah,
there.
she loves Magneto's leadership too because the extra power just like helps her out so much.
Yep.
As you noticed, or and me too in Dorm, you know,
Yeah.
just having that extra power is super good on her.
Yeah. She also gains like 4 different immunities like while in diamond form. So when you transform the diamond form,
She
if you have a
drops them.
bleed, yeah, bleed, incinerate, poison, stun, she just drops them when you do so. And she gets like a very respectable 554 defense stat line with counting blanks in her mystic against mystic attacks as well.
Yeah,
So like she does feel like much more durable, like in her diamond form. If you need
yeah.
to
More
like
notably
change that.
too, like if you're thinking like a turn ahead, right? She'll start the following turn in Diamond form. So like if you're looking for displacement, like last activation or something, she's another like solid move thrower even. So
Yeah,
you can
now.
kind of set yourself up for those kind of plays.
Yep. Yeah. So because sometimes one must get their hands dirty is now able to throw characters from the recent errata. She actually is a walk throw model that you can do now as well.
Yep.
Uh, so you can walk throw that, or you can also walk telepathic lash on her normal side. So she has that play pattern on both forms, which is really powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Um,
The one I think relevant one is mind
Mind
transfer.
transfer.
Yeah. So during her activation, she can spend 4 power to play these tactics cards. Choose an enemy character within 3 of Emma Frost. Move an activated token from the chosen character to another enemy character that does not have an activated token within 2 of the chosen character. So, like, the funniest one I could see is like, you move like a grunt activation token right to another character.
Yeah.
um, because the grunts are not going to be activated again unless their master also doesn't have like their their characters to have. If they have an activated token on the master character, you won't be able to go with the grunts again, basically. So it's interesting, like that you can use as a sort of like counter, like Fury, Shadowlands like situation or Red Skull, too. So these are all like
Mm-hmm.
relevant things you can bring up against. But sometimes you also just want to like, yeah, you can use this to activate another model and just hope that you're able to take out whoever is still like doesn't have an activated token as well.
Yeah, like especially if like I mean, I don't use this card personally that much when I bring Emma, but like I can see scenarios where like say like Hulk, like someone, your opponent has prio, they like hit with Hulk and whiffs, and then you're like, oh wait, no, you wouldn't want to move it from Hulk.
No,
Never mind.
it's more like if you have priority and they have, or no, it's not priority. But let's say they didn't activate Hulk first, right?
Right.
So what you could do, for instance, like you can uh, attack a character that's already activated, move them towards Hulk, right? With one of her builders or like superpowers or something,
Hmm.
and then you can play the card, right? To then like switcheroo the activated token, right? Onto Hulk. So that would be like an interesting play pattern you can do there.
Yeah, I think it's like super situational. I'm not sure you bring this every time or even in your 10, but it is definitely something to keep in the back of your mind.
Yeah,
Um,
I think it's more interesting if they obviously have like grunt characters, right? But also like if there's a high impact activation like a Hulk or something that you expect, or maybe even a Dorm, right? For instance,
yeah,
you could consider like doing this to them, and that would really hamper.
or an
Yeah,
atom, right? So,
yeah. He can't remove the activate token with any of his like soul gem stuff, so like it's pretty interesting what you can do there. So this probably requires some more exploration. Otherwise, though,
mhm,
like 4 power might be hard for Emma to spend sometimes because like you do spend power with her pretty quickly because she has so many things she wants to spend power on.
yeah, especially like telepathic lash on her normal side, and then her throw on her diamond. So,
Yep.
and those are
Uh,
both 3 power. So that
yep.
kind of eats at her economy.
Untapped potential. You can kind of look at our X-Men episode to look at, and
Yeah, we can just
obviously,
skip the rest. Like we give
yeah.
other content on those, so check those out.
Yep.
Next four threat, Lady Mastermind.
Yeah.
She's interesting.
So you do
Have
get a
you
range
used her?
five. I have not. I've just been testing like range five, and because like range five is actually a relatively rare thing, right, in this game. So the
Mm-hmm.
fact that Brotherhood does have a range five attacker, granted, it's not like a like heavy damage, but the shock long range shock is like really relevant, right, to sort of like hamper characters like activations, right? Um, and she has the ability to make like basically 3 attacks a turn because she's got her 2 normal actions, but she also has the realities whatever I want it to be to sort of like pseudo take a character's attack, right, and use it against them. Um,
Yeah, I should also call out actually to long range poison's pretty solid to hamper activations going into like turn 2 or something.
yeah, exactly. But if they're also like a high like damage like dealer, like I also like the shock as well.
Yeah,
You could also use it to set up like an incinerate, right? So that Pyro has an easier time, like to just like move that to people, or just soften them up so that whatever other attacker you want to go into them, they have like less dice rate to worry about.
mm-hmm. She's
She,
yet another character who stops enemy super reactive and team tactic cards.
so, listeners, this is the third character in Brotherhood that says no reactives, please, during my activation.
Yeah, well, that is actually really important to call out because I think in tighter mission sets that's going to be even more impactful. Um, just because of either DR or fallback, right?
Yep.
Even just those two situations will be really impactful on tight missions to like, and like, those like one dice attacks, like you can use them a little bit, or there was one capped at 1 damage attacks. You can kind of use them pretty intelligently, like to, sort of like, I don't know, like either a character's alive on 1 from last turn, so you hit him with that, and then, um, I don't know, whatever, where I was going with that. But like,
Conversely, like I do like using it to soften people so that they are alive on 1, so that next round it's very easy to like daze them, right?
right, like just doing some ping damage and kind of like old bulls I used to, sort of.
Right, exactly. So if they're like holding an extract, right, but I don't think I'm going to be able to like pick up something with them, I can soften them up so that the next round, whoever it goes, is able to daze them and then like get that extract off of them, for instance.
Yeah, especially like high impact models like atoms or dorms or the hulks, whatever, the bigger threat models.
Yeah, I guess this wouldn't technically do anything to Adam, right? Because he's just going to DR this to 1.
Shh.
Well,
To zero,
unless
zero,
you
you mean?
unless you pay for the mind over matter to do 2 additional damage, right? Or no, that's not 2 additional. It's 2 damage flat. Okay, so if you mind over matter uh, against Adam, I guess you can do 1 damage to him total from the deadly
So there we
illusions.
go. Atom
Woo!
anti-atom play.
That's don't do that, folks.
Yeah.
uh,
But he is good to put shock or incinerate on Atom, I guess, to stack because it's for. We should note here, it's for each wild, so you can do more than one condition. So she's a good like condition stacker with one activation, which is pretty solid. So
Yep. Now, the reality is whatever I want it to be does allow you to sort of take the profile of an attack, but not the special rules. So, which is really hilarious because, like, if you pay the 3 power to, like, puppeteer, like, a Shuri or mimic a Shuri attack, for instance, like, you get a 6-die energy attack at range 5, but without the baggage of it doing only 1 damage, it can do, like, a normal amount of damage, which is really
or
interesting.
Mephisto, take
Right.
his other thing.
Yeah, you can take his Infernal Bargain, right? And then, like, you can it'll be just a range 2 6-die attack with, no other limitations otherwise.
Does that only cost 1 power too?
No, it scales depending on, like, how much Mystic Defense they have, right? So if I want to take this attack, it would be, I think, 4 power, right? Which sure is only be 3. Laura is the worst. Like, it's rough for, like, the Wolverines, right? Because it only costs, like, 2.
Yeah.
Which I guess is, like, very thematic, like, there.
Yeah.
The other thing is that Mass Hallucination, the spender that she actually has, is actually not bad for as far as, like, displacement goes. I think hitting a wild on 6 dice might be kind of tough, but, like, it is an AoE advance. So in a pinch, I think you can potentially, like, win a point with the Mass Hallucinations if you really, like, need it, to go off.
Yeah. She doesn't really generate or spend power very effectively, though, so I guess that's kind of a weakness. But
well, let's see. To try a little harder innate actually is, like, okay, right? Because it's like whenever an enemy character within 3 rolls 1 or more, like, skulls in any roll, so this could be, like, pay to flips, right? It could be interacts, sort of whatever dice effects that they need for a Texas card or something, or defense, dodge, or attacks, right? Like, she'll get power. But that it's interesting because, like, she's a range 5 attacker, but that means I think to try a little hard next time makes her feel like she wants to be, like, closer, right, to the action.
I was gonna say, based on all of her kit, besides try a little harder next time. I don't think she wants to be within 3. So, it's a little counterintuitive. But, like, I mean, you still, she doesn't have the place that, like, Hawkeye has. But, like, she's, like, not a terrible, and she's also a 4 threat. But she's not a terrible if you use her for, like, a long range mission stacker. Condition stacker role. Like, she's, like, pretty solid. So.
Yeah, I think shock is just really relevant, especially as you play against, like, taller lists. Because, like, if you get, like, 2 good, like, key shocks out to, like their big workhorse models, that can be relevant, right, to sort of protect the rest of your team. And, like, I think shock is not something that easily comes affiliated wise, like, in this team. So, like, I think there's definitely like a role there, that she can play.
For sure. I don't think poison is either. Like, those 2 conditions are not, like, inherent in Brotherhood that often. So, cool. I didn't scroll. Mirage.
Yeah, Mirage is actually a pretty good tactics card. I do need to reread it to just get the full breath again. So let's see. When an enemy character attacks an ally character with a range 3 of an ally Lady Mastermind, during the modified dice step, Lady Mastermind may pay 2 to play this card. For each skull result in the attack roll, Lady Mastermind may change one of the results in the attacker rolls to blank, and for each dice change this way, then
is it getting late?
Loses 1 power. Okay. I mean,
it's okay.
I didn't.
You were like, it's really good. It's okay. If you do change one, you can advance them. So it's like all this text for basically like a gain power / advance.
Well, so it also changes. Okay, so it blunts the offensive attack that they have, right? Because it changed their die phases, right, to blanks, right?
Oh, my bad. I read the opposite. Yep. So it is, like, pretty solid, actually.
Yeah, and then they also lose power, right? So they get less damage output, they lose power, right? And then they also get advanced as long as they roll 1 skull, right? So
yeah, that's a really good defensive tech piece, actually.
Yeah, and I think you get to know. Yeah, so this is during the modified dice step. So, like, in your
defender modifies second, so you get to see.
Yep. So since you're modifying the attacker's rolls, right? So that's kind of like the last modify step, right? That you can play this, and you'll know basically all the dice results, right? Getting to there. So, like, if you see the skull in the pool, like, it's like, yeah, go for it, like, rip it, and the Mirage can, like, really ruin, like, their attack sequence, right?
Yep. Also has some cool Wolverine art on it. But Wolverines aside, situational card, I think, maybe a 10. I'm not sure.
I,
There's a
th-
lot of
I
good tactics cards here, though. So
yeah, I think if Lady Mastermind is in your squad, I think I would.
should bring it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you should consider it in your tent for sure.
Yeah. The next fourth threat, who's a really good fourth threat, is Rogue.
Love Rogue.
Yeah, she's very good. You, I don't know. I actually don't use her that much, but like I've been, mutant absorbed so many times. So
So I roll bad dice, but like I recognize that the ceiling of Rogue's activation is like quite high, in the sense that she's able to just drain a ton of power, and also from the sap power from Builder, the Builder can be like physical or energy, which is really good. Southern Hospitality, it's a range 2 spinner she has, automatically throws you if you're size 4 or less any direction S, which is really good for 3 power. Charge is really great, right, for action compression. Marvel Strength, you can throw terrain. People size 4 or less, medium, which is really good. Mute Absorption is crazy because you roll 5 dice and you just get to drain their power. Like, I should say drain. You remove power, right, equal to the amount of hit, crits, and wilds that you get. If they don't
which means
have
on
any,
average that's 3.
yep. So 2 to 3 power, right? And so if you go past that,
2 to
right?
3.
Any results that go past the amount of power they actually have, you just take as damage that doesn't like give you anything. So,
Yep. And you don't gain power from the damage too, which is also super good.
yep. No, it's really good. I think I think I like took out a Nebula or an ASM once, I think. And they basically woke up with 0 power because of immune absorption, which is really crazy.
Yeah. I can see that being, and you can get through like anyone's kind of. I mean, it's good into Adam. Oh no, it maybe is good into Adam.
As long as you roll at least 2 successes, you can do it. You can do a damage to Adam if he has 0 power. But getting Adam to 0 power might be rough. What you can do use it for though is probably to just reduce the amount of power he has so he doesn't get the recalibration matrix as friends, right?
Exactly. You kind of like take him off of his power points. His like a whatever you call that. I'm blanking on the word. It's like 11:30 here right
now. so whatever like magic number threshold that you want Adam to have, right? So let's say 6 power maybe was what he wants. So
break points was the word I was looking
for.
Yeah.
Break points is a good way to phrase it. Let's see. The other thing is, so she's got immunity to poison flight, which is great because a bomb can't do anything to her. Also, she also has DR for enemy effects to a minimum of 1. That's passive. That's really good. 4 through 3 stat line, so pretty respectable. If this character gets a health buff, like that's going to be pretty wild, I think.
Oh boy, yeah. The DRs, she's hard to kill already, so
yeah. I mean, if they're willing to give Bastion, I guess like 7/6 health with DR, like Rogue with 7/6 health would be pretty wild, I think.
I might actually play her then.
Yep.
I didn't know. I have nothing against her. It's just like I haven't been playing too many affiliations that can like use her. So
yep.
2 tactics cards.
Yep. Mind If I Cut In basically is kind of a pseudo taunt card. So Rogue plays this card, and then this round when enemy character is using a target for non-area, non-beam attacks, so single target attacks, and Rogue is within range and line of sight. Yeah, they have to pay 1. If not, they have to attack Rogue. So basically, it's like a 1 tax, right? Taunt that she can kind of do. So if you don't pay the 1 power, you have to attack her. Otherwise, you can attack the character you originally meant to attack.
If she goes to 7/6, this card is super good. I still think I don't know if it's super good, but it's definitely worth considering. I think if she gets a help, even now, I would be like, maybe, because she wants to be up in the action. You know what I mean? Like that taunt just kind of helps her a little bit more. I think as long as she's not holding an extract.
Yeah, it's a time and a place for that.
And she loves power, so like if you start dealing damage to her, like her kit, just like the as Jian, as you talked about at the beginning, like her potential for a super impactful activation just like goes up and up as she gains more power.
Yep. Part of me Sugar is basically they're trying to sort of like replicate the drain superpowers from basically the actual lore. The only affiliate,
a lot of text, so the only thing that matters is the last line.
Yeah. So she'll basically get a superpower for the round, essentially for each of these different things. So for the case of Magneto, Magneto will suffer damage, and she will also have cover from all attacks for this round.
Yeah,
But
this feels
if
a
you
little dumb in Brotherhood because you have magnetic refraction.
right, this seemed to be more like if you're playing against like an enemy Magneto, right? Because it doesn't specify allied characters, right? This is just her versus like these specific characters, like Wolverine, Cyclops, Storm, Deadpool, or Magneto.
Hmm.
So not going to take this card because yeah, you already have magnetic refraction if you're taking Magneto, and she would, don't need to waste a Taxus card, right, to get the cover.
Yeah, this is cute. I guess if you're seeing a lot of Brotherhood and you're worried about the mirror, maybe you take it. But
Yeah,
yeah,
but
okay.
yeah,
So
no, good all rounder, energy drain her attack, and she has displacement and terrain throws, like a good model in both leaderships, I think.
yep, she's solid. On to the next, the first Sabretooth, who
OG
I have used
Sabretooth.
a lot. So, um, yeah, I mean, I don't really like him. You can talk about him because I don't think he's that good right now, outside of being a pestilence. He's a good rotator. I agree with that. But I think I just think like sometimes he whiffs, and when he whiffs, it feels real bad, and then he just gets hit hard because he's only 333, so with 6 health. So I think if we do see a Sabretooth health buff as well, I actually really would like that. I think,
I would
but he,
agree. Yeah,
yeah, he's got an aggressive, which is like nice. You can reposition. I think his best place is pestilence. Because then condition bombing makes up for like that kind of the control aspect of the game makes up for the fact that like he just freaking dies. So,
I mean, you
um,
can take instant recovery to increase the durability a little bit, but yeah, at this point you're kind of throwing like water onto like a fire that may not go out. So
yeah,
the thing is like Sabretooth is like really good offensively, right? So you have like a great builder, like it's 5 dice bleed, pierce, and a wild. The Savage Predator like has a trigger that lets you do an additional claw attack afterwards with a reroll any number of dice.
yeah.
You can also add dice to your attack rolls depending on how much damage he has, up to like 3 additional dice. So an 8 dice builder or a 10 dice like spender, right? Try to hit like very reasonable triggers is not that crazy. The aggressive and untamed force like come together, right? They'll let you do an aggressive then a counterattack once per turn.
Hmm.
So like that is pretty nice. He also has a long mover. There's not very many long movers outside of Quicksilver like
Yeah.
on this team. So like he's
He's
able to
better.
propel.
Like, I mean, he's a 4 threat, and I think he plays a different role than Quicksilver. But like, um, yeah, I guess like if rotation maps, like we don't know how the meta is going to shake out, right? If map, I mean, B maps are still there, so like he's pretty good on a B still, because he's got the ability of, I mean, you have to double walk because of the small base, right? But like he rotates in one turn, right? And then like can sit there and counterattack, and that's a pretty good like tech piece to have, like tech to have on Mad Men for just to like flip on the opposite side of the board.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, and you feel better like putting him on like a Madman than like Quicksilver, because at least at the very least, if you don't kill him, especially if you bring, I do think like bringing instant recovery with him is the right move, because if you don't kill him, he counterattacks and then um, like can be impactful in that way. So out of activation attacks are always good.
Yep. And yeah, but otherwise, yeah, there's a lack of control. Like in Sabretooth, he is really just there to blend people and just move and pick on people.
Yeah.
So he does have Weapon X program he has access to, which is he basically like pounces the 3 power
Yep.
for a Tactus card, which is
I'm a
like
huge fan of that card. So yeah.
yeah. So whether or not it makes the 5, it depends on probably the matchup and whether how much you really think you need it. But it does give him some
And
more movement, so he can rotate quite a bit.
And if
Between
you're running, I don't know, Brotherhood on like primarily aiming for like B maps, because those will be the rotation maps now, except for the 1D, I think that's going to be in there. The throw SL move gets you from one side to the other in one action for 3 power. So you'll still have like a second action. So like, say you're at like a nice 5 power, I guess, you can move, throw yourself, flip, right? So
yep,
some interesting play there on a B map.
yep.
Uh,
Let's
uh,
see. We can move on to his second version, but we're talking about
Apex.
yeah.
Actually, before we do Apex Predator, let's talk about Shadow King. I'm just kidding. Okay. Apex Predator comes in that expensive box with Wolverine with the hat. Turns out when you give Sabretooth a coat, things change. So
Yep.
Wolverine's hats, Sabretooth's coats.
Right. So with the coat on, he's able to get one more physical defense, one more
And
mystic defense, one more health. But he does lose his long movement down to back to medium.
Yeah. But he is significantly different. And I think probably pretty solid.
Yeah.
Is he good? Is this character good?
This version of Sabretooth is definitely more well-rounded, right, than the other Sabretooth. Because catch front, right, you can pick a person within range 2, size 3 or less, and throw the medium. That's like really good displacement opportunities.
Yeah. And there's not a ton of, so just based on this episode and what we've been reading, it doesn't seem like Brotherhood has a ton of character throws. So here's one.
Right, exactly. So like this is one of the few exceptions, right? Primal Pounds, right? You now have Weapon X, program, right, essentially on a stick for 3 power. So which is good. The Stops Will You
They
Die.
just put the card on. They just put the card on the card. So you could technically, you still have access to, no, you don't have access to it anymore.
Right,
okay.
because the Weapon X program specifically calls out Wolverine and Sabretooth, right? It doesn't say Victor Creed or James Logan Howlett,
Yeah. All right. Well, it'd be kind of cool if you had access to both, but
it would be, yeah.
But
So
I mean, Primal Pounds for 3 power does make him because it's M,
yeah,
not small,
not small.
Well, so
yeah. So it kind of makes up for the lack of long move, right? Because you're, I guess, between like move and a Primal Pounce, right? You should be able to cover a similar, if not better, distance, right, than 2 long moves.
Yep. His attacks are pretty good. I mean, he's got a two cost spender with a place 1. That's pretty solid.
Yeah, it's almost like X-23 spender, right? The range 3, 6 dice, 2 costs with a pierce. But instead of getting a meter move, you get the place within one of the target character, right, after resolution. So
yeah, and you can also potentially, like, I don't know, do a play pattern where you like add 5 power, move, spender, throw yourself for some extra damage.
Yep. Or you can throw yourself, spender, then do a builder afterwards.
Yes.
So
depending on the order of, I kind of like throw sometimes a little bit more, especially if your opponent doesn't bring grace, depending on their physical defense, obviously. But yeah, definitely different play patterns.
Yep. I don't know about you, but like the Stop Swinging and Die has often been like a rough trap for me because I feel like 4 power is very expensive to get the 3 additional dice.
Yeah, that's a little too overcosted to be honest.
Yeah,
I don't think they need to change that. To be fair, I think the kit works without it. I just don't think you ever really use it.
Yeah, I don't know. I would have been better if it was like 3 costs for 2 dice. I think that would have been like more versatility useful.
Yeah.
I think at 4 costs, you're just like, it's like, crap. That's like almost like, one of the superpowers, right? Plus a spender, at that point. So, it's a harder thing to justify.
I guess the thing is, because you have access to the self throw, it's like, why wouldn't you just like stack that with a 5 dice builder, for 3 power rather than, because I'm like trying to justify when you'd ever use adding 3 dice. And it's like, and then in my head, it was like, when you really need to kill something. And I'm like, well, you really need to kill something. You just throw yourself and then see what happens,
Right. Yeah. And if you need to finish somebody off, I would.
You can throw them with the catch run,
Yep.
So yeah, feels a little useless there, but really cool sculpt too. So.
Yep. So speaking of runs, we should talk about Happy Birthday Run, the Cactus card that both. This is Victor Creek can pay for this, so that means that either version of Sabretooth is allowed to use this. It's cost 3 power. Choose an enemy character within 3 and line of sight with an activated token, so they only can attack somebody that had an activated token. You then make the attack above. It's pretty good. Let's see, 6 dice. Physical attack at range 3. The target doesn't benefit from any cover. They cannot use reactives or superpowers or tactics cards. And then additionally, if the target happens to be a James Logan Howlett, you make them drop all the tokens they're holding afterwards, which is more of a fun gaha troll. But I think the first 2 are like very relevant as far as like trying to finish somebody off.
Yeah, and this is one of those cards that's also a 3rd attack or a 3rd action, right?
Correct. Yeah, this doesn't cost an action to do, which means that either Sabretooth can just like do 2 attacks, right, and then do this, for instance.
Yeah. Yep, it's pretty solid. I've used it in APOC a couple times when I was running Sabretooth as Pestilence, so
Yep.
it's not terrible. But that is Apex. So let's move on to a model I really want to use and just haven't put on the table yet. Exodus. Uh, he does some things and some stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, Exus is a 5 cost character that is pretty well rounded, right? As far as kit goes, like he has
Mm-hmm.
access to a teleport, too. So normally he's a medium move, small base. He's got the ability to place 2 for 3 power. Similar to Cable, he's able to throw up shields for himself or allies once per turn. Cable doesn't need to be once per turn, but that's okay. He makes up for it the fact that he's a lot more durable because he starts with a 4/4/4 stat line, 7 health, I think, on both sides, I want to say.
Yep, he's 7/7.
Yep. He's got healing factor 1. He's also got a builder that automatically also removes damage. The Psionic Vampirism. It's like
Mm-hmm.
6 dice Mystic Builder, also with a sap power trigger. Like, these are incredibly good triggers. The fact that the healing's consistent is really nice, unlike, Spider-Man 2099. And then he's also got a range attack for range 4 that can just randomly, like, push you, like, towards him. Like,
Yeah, it's a pull towards,
yeah.
Venom or Omega Red type
Yep.
thing.
Yeah, size 4 or less, pull is, like, really good. And then he just has an AoE that also can just give out incinerates automatically. So
Yeah, I mean, like, he's just got like a pretty solid defensive. He's a pretty solid defensive piece. In general, I think under Magneto on a tight map, if you're at a high threat where you can afford 11 threat to bring for 2 characters, he feels really good with like magnetic refraction too, adding 2 dice with cover, right?
yeah,
So I know it's only once per turn, but it's still pretty solid. So I just think he's a really solid, durable displacement, control kind of 5 piece. So
yep. He also has access to an X cost throw, so once per turn, so he can throw anything from a size 1 to a size 4, depending on how much power he wants to spend. But that's really good, right? Because that super easily triggers the Magneto leadership.
yep.
And he's very efficient as far as like what he wants to throw at you. So, yeah.
And you can kind of like because it's like malleable, right? Like you can really use it in conjunction with like I need X amount of power on these other 2 characters who haven't activated, right? So you're like, I'm looking for a size 2, because there's terrain friggin' everywhere now. So you can kind of pick, 1, 2, 3, almost, most on most boards. So
Yep. Now, I would say Exodus isn't like is very consistent with damage, but I think the fact that he has at least 3 different sorts of damage opportunities between like 2 attacks and a throw, the range to teleport like usually gets him there where he needs to be. So like he kind of can just be someone that's willing to face tank like for the team a little bit,
yeah,
especially
and be a
under
really good extract holder. To be fair,
right. Yeah.
um,
So I will say that like the more I see genetic superiority, the card that he actually comes with, the more I kind of like it. So you can use it if you have both a Magneto and an Exodus. So if they do come up multiple iterations of Magneto, he would be eligible for this card as well. And then you just put this
unless
card.
his name is Eric.
Yeah, unless his name is Eric, that would be the troll move there. Um, So once per turn, basically, if an ally character of threat 4 or less would suffer damage, and they're within 5 of a Brotherhood of Mutant character that's a 5 threat or greater, that larger threat character is able to get a power from this. So it's only once per turn, but you think about the things that can happen during your active turns and during each opponent's reactive turns. Like you can actually get like a pretty decent amount of power over the course of the game from this card.
Yeah, and that stacks pretty well with Magneto's leadership, anyways, because you're handing out like 2. You could potentially be handing out 2 power a character turn.
Yep. Yeah. Often, like the games that I see this play, the characters end up being pretty flush with power. So that means that Exodus always has his teleport and terrain throw online. Magneto always has enough to usually do his
Throw everything.
throw everything, but also have his reactive, like get more dice and don't get pushed or thrown, like
Yeah.
superpower online as well. So yeah, I think it's pretty good. I think it's worth taking, certainly if you have a squad that's going to contain both of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of like that a lot. What pack does he come in with? He comes in with the Avalanche, right?
Avalanche
Avalanche Lady
Fleet
Mastermind.
Mastermind. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, okay. I haven't bought that one yet, so maybe I should do that soon. All right, and then we have two more characters. Let's close it out with a better one. So let's talk about Shadow King first. This
Are you
character
implying
is
that Shadow
definitely
King is
something.
not the best Brotherhood immune 5 threat?
I don't know if he's a good 5 threat anywhere right now, but yes. So this character has a ton of text. His builder isn't terrible.
Actually, his builder's really good,
Yeah,
honestly.
and with his card, we should just talk about his card already because like this is the gimmick. Um, is that the gimmick or is that no? Never mind. I'm thinking of it's on his card.
Yeah, the gimmick is actually on his card. So
Astral Fiend. We're gonna rename that. It's a little too violent for me. We could call that Astral Friend. So he places a token within 3, and then he measures range from there. Uh, so to be able to hit him as well as hit others. Um, and then when he's damaged by a mystic attack, he removes it. And also at the beginning of cleanup phases, he removes it. So at 3 power, which notably he does not start off with every turn, he can basically send out this little friend, not fiend. He sends out his buddy, and you can measure range from there. But your opponents consequently can also measure range back to you from there. So his like range 3 from 3, it's effectively range 2 range 3s because there's no range 6 anyways. But like, you can like hit people from very far away and like hand out root, 6 dice physical builder or mystic builder, and you can advance them. So you have displacement from range 6 effectively, while also handing out root on a wild trigger. And then his disintegration, his spender, is 5 dice, and he adds dice equal to the amount of power a character has to a maximum of 5, and they can't mod. So this can go up to a 10 dice attack depending on the amount of power, and it's range 2 from him or from his little buddy. He has a 3 power heal 3 damage. And then I'm like reading this as we're going. By the way, I do not have this card memorized. So when a character ends an advance within 3 of him or his buddy, he can use this. He rolls 3 dice and they suffer damage for each crit or wild. If it deals 1, he can advance them. So he has a really, really long tricks and traps.
So yeah, it's a bit different, right? Because tricks and traps usually like the person that's setting up the traps, right, is the one that's able to move afterwards. Nightmare Visions actually moves the the enemy model instead, right? So that's a big difference here.
Yeah. Oh, fair enough. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yep. So if they move within 3 of either him or his buddy, do you think the buddy should have been 2, and that may fix some issues? 2 power.
I think so. Yeah, I know for sure. Like because it takes an action, right? It really hampers like what Shadow.
Oh, I missed that whole part. Yeah, that's awful.
That is the reason why it's really rough to use Shadow King, because like normally he doesn't have the ability to like walk, put down an Astral Fiend, right, and then attack, right? Like he has to sort of choose very distinctly what he's going to do. Like, are you going to Astral Fiend, or are you just going to walk and attack? Like.
Well, you have to astral in order to attack through the Astral Fiend. You have to not walk, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like you have
So
to make sure you have one action to use the Astral Fiend. So you're really hoping to like put the Astral Fiend out, generate a bunch of power, right, and then with that maybe you can respond with some Nightmare Visions, right? So
but he's got some cool glasses, I guess.
he does, yeah. The model is also gorgeous as well. Like I think that's
Yeah.
constantly rated as like very highly as far as one of the best models like in the game looks wise. But yeah, 12 health. He has access to an active healing factor basically. If he's got the 3 power for it, so it's like he's not awful for durability, but it leaves a little bit to be desired because like he really feels very plotting, like on the field. But if you ever get in a situation where you are able to do like 2 mental shackles in a row, like that's pretty good. Like
How can if you're range 3 from just a
Yeah,
character
yeah.
without the
If you just
I'm like,
if
how
you
do you do that with your buddy?
basically yes, if you just ignore the gimmick,
Yeah,
um, you're able to do some really good attacks into people, right? Because the
yeah.
displacement's very relevant, and the root's
He's slow though. Small move, medium base. It's not particularly speedy.
yeah, it's a very normal speed. Short move, medium base is like roughly equivalent to like a small base, medium move. That kind of situation.
Yep. I think I'd like this character a lot more if they honestly, even if they kept it at 3, they just take the action out of the Astral Fiend.
I think the problem is that I putting the Astrophy and then double tapping from long range is pretty oppressive. I think.
Yeah.
I think my personal fix would have been just because hey, as part of the resolution of Astro Fiend, give him May advance short. So that you're not giving up your ability to go around the board, right? If you just don't want to attack a turn, just give him the ability to at least move as part of the resolution of this.
So you get one attack out of it, but you can still advance.
Yeah, you can still advance
like
and
that.
do something. I think that would be very fair because right now, like I said, he seems very stationary for what he is.
Well, he is he's wearing the same suit as Kingpin, so maybe that's why.
Yep. Do you want to move on to the Astral Plane card that he has?
Yeah, I suppose.
Okay, so
I've never read this card, so
okay.
You got it.
So yeah, so during the power phase, Chao King can spend a power to play this card. You pick a secure objective and you place an Astral Incursion token on it, right? So then the enemy characters will suffer 1 damage if they end an activation within 1 of the Astral Incursion. And then if they also interact with the objective token that's marked by the Astral Incursion. So this token's a little smaller, I think, than the objective tokens. So you have to make sure wherever you land, you're outside of range 1, so you don't actually get hurt by it. But if you have to interact with, let's say, if it was a pay to flip, or if it was a
why didn't they make it the same size as the friggin' objective token?
I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. Anyway, this is just active for a round, and basically during the next cleanup step, you remove all Astral Incursion tokens. So
I don't even, we've read a lot of tactics cards today. That one's just not good. It's not even flavorful. It's just not good.
I am I'm very whelmed.
Power, I guess.
Yeah. It's like okay, yes, this potentially can do a damage to people, but the opponent has an incredible amount of agency to not take the damage, right? They simply just don't do any of this, and you take no damage, right?
Yeah, if you wanted to be a dick though, and if someone's playing Shadow King, you really want to just be and you're already up, just walk in and take the damage if they're playing this card. You suck it. I'm going to take this and still beat you.
Yep.
I don't know. That's pretty bad. All right, moving on. Our last character, who you probably have a ton more experience with and into because he's a anti-Webs character, so is the Juggernaut.
Yep, Juggernaut King Marco is still one of the most interesting characters in this game. He's a fan favorite for a reason, and I think he's still very, very good no matter what crisis rotation that he's in. So Juggernaut's interesting because he actually is one of those characters that actually changes a bit once you get to his injured side. But on the front side, right, he's got a helmet on, so that means he can't be pushed or advanced by mystic attacks or superpowers, which is really, really good. He's got a DR1 that you pay for just like Bill does. He's got a strike that's able to push any size, which is really interesting. So it's normally just a 5-dice attack that on a while you can push any size away, but if you take an advance beforehand, right? So not advance, but a move action, right? If you take a move action, you get 2 power from doing a move action. And the next attack you do either the 5-dice strike or the 7-dice spender gets 3 dice added to the attack. So basically you're doing really big hits, just one really big hit with Juggernaut most of the time. So that's usually 8 dice. I think it's usually pretty reasonable to get a wild. So if you really need to push, like I said, a Sentinel or Dormammu situation, right? You can probably do that using this ability. By moving once and then getting the extra 3 dice and then going for it. His spender, it doesn't do any displacement; it's just pure damage. So it becomes either a 7 dice or a 10 dice attack, depending if you like use the momentum innate. And then on a wild, you get the ability to do a superpower called Nothing Stops a Juggernaut for free. And what Nothing Stops a Juggernaut for free does, either you pay for it, you get it for free, is that he gets to push S. He destroys any terrain of size 3 or less when in his pathway. And then if he contacts a character, the contacted character takes 1 damage. Keep in mind that this doesn't say enemy character, so if you do end up stopping on your character, you can do a damage to one of your characters. And also additionally, this superpower allows him to remove a stagger condition if he has it. So with 3 power, Juggernaut's kind of pseudo immune to stagger, basically, which is really interesting.
Yeah, and DR1 helmet.
Yep, DR1 helmet.
Sorry. I'm really tired, Jay.
It's okay.
I'm like helmet.
Yes. He's immune to stun. It's really good. He's a 4/3/5 defense with 8 health on this side. So like really good stuff. Like overall, like he just is a web warriors can't really move him around. Emma can't move him around, which is really nice. And he does have the ability to like push people around. So like, and under the leadership of Mystique, what I'd like to do is use him as a safe grab because he can like walk, pick up something, get have 3 power altogether from that, and still be able to like do a Nothing Stops Juggernaut to like get him to safety, for instance. You can also use him to use Nothing Stops Juggernaut to destroy a bunch of terrain so that Magneto can pass out a bunch of power to the entire team. So he works well under both leaderships. The key thing to know is that the Nothing Stops Juggernaut, that push where you destroy terrain and you can contact people to take a damage, that is not a once per turn superpower. So theoretically, you can do it as many times as you want as long as you have 3 power each time. So theoretically, let's say you can start the turn with like, let's say 10 power, right? You can do that push 3 times, walk, punch somebody, and then like do it more times depending on how much power you have left over.
He's so cool.
So Juggernaut is like kind of like the best rotator in this game.
Yeah.
I think he is like the fastest character, like ceiling wise, as far as like what he can do in his kit just by his own normal like powers, basically.
Yeah, and then we should note too that on the back he gets a throw.
Yeah, so
if you didn't say that.
Yeah, so on his backside he actually does change quite a bit. In the sense that the helmet's gone, right? And his defense goes down, mystic wise, down to 2, which is very flavorful because the helmet's basically off, right? But
the helmet's off, man.
Helmet's off. But
shit's serious.
What you get in return though is like you have Avatar Sidorak's throw, where it's superpower where you can pick a terrain or a character of size 3 or less within range 2 and throw them medium. Once per turn, you can do this. So he gets a character or a terrain throw, which is really good to like up his control game, actually.
Yeah.
So even though he's easier to take down, but I think he actually becomes more dangerous scoring wise, like on the backside, in my opinion.
Yep. And they I mean, like this character's like really fucking cool. They did a good design, and keep in mind, this came out 4 years ago, so it's still kind of early for MCP. That was during COVID, I believe.
Yeah, we're just after COVID, but yeah, Juggernaut essentially is one of those characters that I think AMG just nailed like the first time.
Yeah.
And like I don't think there's a single thing I would change on him, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, no, he's kind of perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And his Do You Know Who I Am is an amazing card. He spends 3 power, and he can choose an interactive feature or enemy character within 2 and throw them L.
Yep, size 4 or less.
Size 4.
Yep,
size 4. So no Sentinels or anything, but like an L throw is
very rare.
No
it's very rare. A character throw L is like very rare. I think it's only like this and maybe the Wrecking Crew card. And I think that's the only thing that throws a character like L, which is that can really display somebody. Like poor Crossbones, right? Should you ever throw him
or
long,
Mysterio or something?
Yeah, you're just like, it's like cool.
I'm done with this game, I guess.
I'm staggered for like 2 turns, basically, like essentially. So
yeah,
it's really good. And the thing is too, like this doesn't have to be during Juggernaut's activation, right? So you can use this as sort of Rube Goldberg machine to like combo like effects into each other and then have them throw somebody afterwards. Or if it's getting close to like the end of a round, right, and a character is activated next to him, he can be like, cool, I'm just going to throw you off the point to win that point, for instance, or deny that point from you.
Yeah, really, really solid the timing window there. And Then his other card is Making a Ruckus.
Let's see. I
I'm
don't.
glad that I'm just really happy they at least nailed this character because like Juggernaut is like historically like very very famous and loved character. So
Yep, a very
um,
very
but
celebrated villain for X-Men. Let's see.
yeah,
So making a ruckus when an allied character within 3 of an allied Juggernaut is targeted by attack, the allied Juggernaut may spend 3 to play this card. After the effect resolved, Juggernaut may advance S towards the targeting character. It may make a strike attack targeting it. So,
does he gain power from that too?
yeah, because it's a builder, right? So it falls under all the
Oh,
rules.
I meant from the unstoppable momentum. No, because it's not an action.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
I answered my own question. Thank
Yep.
you.
Yep. So making a ruckus, I don't think you'll ever see played just because like the basic gist is that if these conditions are met, Juggernaut can spend 3 power to walk and then make a 5 dice attack into somebody. And that's not particularly exciting. Like maybe you're looking for the push, but like it's not
Mhm.
guaranteed. And I don't know. I feel like there's other cards that have much better effects. So like,
Yep.
I think you end up taking Do You Know Who I Am quite a bit with Juggernaut. It almost seems like an auto include if you're taking him like in the squad, just because it's just so versatile for like, mission scoring purposes or even for damage, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like I think making a ruckus is a fun flavor card, but I don't think it has nearly the utility that you need to have a tactics card to have a field in your 10.
Yeah. If you really just want to make a ruckus, though, bring it. Otherwise, don't expect it to be good.
Yep. Literally, if you just want to say I'm making a ruckus, like that,
Yeah.
but that's all really I can
Good for
really
you,
say.
man. Yeah.
So I think that's all the characters that we have.
Yep. So let's not talk about splashes. Figure that out on your own. No, to be fair, I think given the proximity of this episode to some major changes, I think we should just not talk about specific characters, but maybe talk about like under Magneto's leadership, look for characters who can throw or destroy terrain, especially at low cost.
Yep.
So like one or two, you have 2 power for like a size 1 or 2 or something. Things like that. Like so like Cable. I mean, I don't know if you'd splash Cable, but like as an example of a superpower where your cost is the size of the terrain piece. Those are really good under Magneto. And Jin, like for Mystique, what do you think is like solid?
So I really let's see.
Like general game
General game.
mechanics, not characters necessarily.
Okay. Um, so for Mystique, like I feel like you want to get an extract lead with them, right? And sort of
Mm.
just like rotate around like a map, right? To do so in the first place. So, I think like stealers, long movers, displacers, like you're basically trying to square out the game, right? With that team. Um
Yeah.
and so that's kind of like how I would end up playing Mystique most of the time because there's nothing like inherently in Brotherhood that helps you do a lot of damage, right? But you do have a lot
Mm-hmm.
of things that either help you move around, or you get some like key rerolls, right? For something here or there, right? And then like since you're taking, I think Juggernaut quite a bit. Like, Do You Know Who I Am is like very relevant, right? For like large brain plays where you can sort of like see what you can really hamper as far as an opponent goes to like make them inefficient about taking you down. The Freedom Force token, I think, also really needs to be like honed in on is like, hey, here's an opportunity for me to play this on something and then like make it so that you have to commit a model like to try to get rid of it, and then that means that there's less efficiency and actions right going into your team that's trying to like destroy them instead. So I think, like I said, the leadership because of the way it's worded, I think it's going to play very well with the source extracts quite a bit. So they may either be looking to run source extracts or they feel very fine on source
Yeah.
extracts. I don't know if I would say source extracts are their main plan, but I feel like Mystique teams are like very comfortable like playing a source extract. Especially
Makes
since you
sense.
have a Mystique that goes in and out to grab something. You can have Toad go grab something,
Mm-hmm.
right? Whereas like you have other characters that can do like more work. So Juggernaut and Emma Frost are like good displacement pieces. So it's like Colossus, right?
Yeah. I mean, I like the idea of a Brotherhood list in general running both leaders, and just kind of pivoting, depending on the mission. I mean, it does depend on like what you're bringing, but like at a baseline, like Juggernaut, Juggernaut, Mystique, Magneto, and then like Emma. I think to start with is like a really solid like place to build a
Hmm.
list from, right?
Yep.
So Rogue too. Let's like 5 of them.
Yeah.
um, but
So
yeah, Toad. Yeah, I guess 6 of them. But I mean, I do think at a certain point, like you have to kind of pivot into one or the other, right? But in game plans, but like, I do think like maybe Magneto is a question if you don't want to go that route, but like, starting off with like either Magneto, Jugs, Mystique, Toad, Gambit, Emma, something like that, and building from there. So
yeah. But as far as like actual purchasable models goes, like, I think that X-Men starter pack is like actually a really good value to get started on this team, right? Because
yeah, it
you
was just you were typing it in after I did, motherfucker. Yeah, I did that earlier. Yeah, no, that's a great way to start. Not only Brotherhood, but you can also kind of build out some X Men from there because you get 4 leaders in that one box.
you do, yeah. And there are 6 affiliated Brotherhood models, right? Because you have Toad, you have Magneto, you got Mystique, you have Gambit, Rogue, and Sabretooth, the original version. So,
Yeah, it's weirdly more of a Brotherhood box than an X Men box, but don't tell AMG that.
yep. Who knows?
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean that's a great place to start. It's $95, which is a really good. I think with if you're just starting the game too, and you don't have any like range rollers or dice, instead of buying maybe the older starter pack, if you're really set on X Men, you buy this box and like the range rollers and the dice, and you probably come in at like what, like 120 maybe, which isn't bad at all to start a game.
Now, yeah, if you're starting from scratch, though, yeah, I would say that the starter set. Then there's going to be there's the Brotherhood box that has like both. What was it? Exodus, Lady
Yeah,
Mastermind, Avalanche. Uh,
that's the other one I brought up, Jim.
yep. Sorry. There's the Emma repack, I think, right? Because Emma basically was a bunch of psychic mutants, I think, are
Oh
in
yeah,
the
that one's
repack.
weird.
Yep, but Emma's in that, and I think Emma's like an incredibly good piece that no Brotherhood list should like ignore at this point.
Yep.
Um, Juggernaut's going to be repacked, I think, and a general like I don't know what the theme is. It's like I think it's like Juggernaut, like Omega
It's
Red.
characters, if I
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
correctly.
it's like Juggernaut, Omega Red, and Mister Sinister, I think, or something like that. It was.
It's like this is the thick box.
This is just a bunch of thick boy boxes. Yeah, so like, yeah,
Yeah,
I know Juggernaut's like kind of hard to find at the moment, but man, is that model such a
not
good.
as bad as Bill at least. So
That's true. That's true.
yeah, um, yeah. But I think if you're starting, yeah, pick up that X Men thing, and then like kind of move from there
Yeah,
to the Exodus box, and then I think like then you can figure out where you want to go. But
yeah. Like I said, I would say definitely take a look in the Emma repack and then the Juggernaut repack, and I think you're like pretty good there as far as like affiliate pieces that you want. I guess you can try to find the Weapon X bunker, but obviously that's more of a luxury item to me at this point. You know?
yeah, if you I don't know. If you don't have any Brotherhood and you're like winning tournaments or something, you can start Brotherhood by, or you can get those pieces by using store credit or prize support. Often you'll see those special edition boxes in. So
Yep. But yeah,
um,
thankfully this is one of those affiliations where I think AMG is giving you a clear like starting point, so that'll be good
mhm,
for any new players.
absolutely. So I guess general recommendations too. Like real well, we just did that. So that's how you start. Kind of just play. We are still in this like weird period for a few more weeks. I just looked at the mission pack and it's not coming until June 12th, which is kind of a huge bummer. But something a little like a couple weeks earlier. But yeah, so for the next, it's, well, happy May, Jen. It's officially May 1st.
Yep, we're now officially crossed over to May 1st.
So,
So well, we know what the missions are, right? It's just that we don't know what are the changes, right, to the characters. Like if they're just going to be health buffs, or there's going to be something else, you know?
yeah, but I don't know, like, in my own personal opinion, I really wish that we hadn't seen, this is kind of a tangent, but we're at the end of a really long episode, so fuck it. I kind of wish there hadn't been leaks. I really wanted that stuff to come all at once. I don't like getting things piecemeal that much with games.
Mm.
Um, I'd rather just be like, okay, we have all this, now we have to digest. And it also feels like having new missions is great, but like knowing that like a lot of like health, people may or may not realize that like adding health to certain characters, and you and I have talked about this in private, but adding health to certain characters can like hit those breakpoints for them where they become really good.
Yeah,
And we don't know how that'll shake out yet. So it's almost like, yeah, Rogue maybe, say Rogue at 6 health is bad on like a certain mission, but then like she gets a health buff and like Rogue at 7 health though. Now she's playable here, right? So
yeah. Every point of like health you give to a character that has damage reduction is huge, right? As far as
yeah,
like upping their survivability.
yeah. And so like I guess like my overall point here is like it feels still like Limbo Land, but now we have access to like play on them a little bit, right?
Yeah, I think right now, like even though you don't know what changes are coming to characters, you can at least start to feel like it's like, well, at a baseline, like I think Mystique is not gonna like not be a long mover, right, anytime soon.
Right.
So you
Yeah.
can at
You
least
can
play
get
around.
basic play patterns down, is what you're
Yeah,
saying, right? Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just sort of like try on the dress, right? see how it fits,
Yeah.
right?
And I'm going to. I mean, we're doing, the we have an online league that's running, the kind of new Sentinels and the new missions. So, just I'm not taking anything too like when you get like super. So for those who aren't competitive, sometimes when you get super competitive with the game and you take a list, quote unquote, what I seriously, like you start thinking about like every little interaction on each mission stack and at each threat. And like I'm not doing that with any list right now because it feels pointless to me. So
Right. So yeah, for this episode specifically, we just wanted to give everybody an overview of all the Brotherhood characters and sort of
yeah,
like a rough idea of like how they feel like on the board. So with that, hopefully that's enough to get you guys at least started to try out the new missions and also evaluate how they feel like with the
yeah.
June changes, right? Because we're certainly going to
And I
look at
think we
them.
did a good. Oh, sorry, Jen.
Oh
Go
no,
ahead.
that's it. Yeah, just like so you can compare and contrast how they feel post June changes, right? See if there's any breakpoints that we reached.
Yeah, and I think hopefully we provided you with some tools because we did try to like talk a lot about like new missions and context of these characters as well. So and also some like maybe like hopefully this happens, right? Because there's a lot of things that this affiliation in particular will benefit from, even just from health buffs. So um, yeah,
Yep.
Play Brotherhood, they're super cool. One of the more famous affiliations in the game. So I guess we're done.
I think so. Yeah. Audience, let us know how we did. This was a longer one, and we're obviously
Mm.
it's past midnight, so our brains are a little fried. So we're hoping the animation was good. If you have anything to add to us, email us, comment, let us know on Discord. However you like to reach out.
If you think Red Guardian should still be splashed everywhere, also let us know.
That's true. Yeah, we did say he's going to get splashed everywhere.
I didn't say it. I'm not owning that one. But yeah. Also, keep in mind too, if you've listened this far, we're kind of rambling. Jin and I don't really play Brotherhood, so this is kind of an interesting take and a good sit down, Jin. So thank you for joining me tonight on this.
My pleasure.
And you can follow us. Discord link is below. Aliveon1@gmail.com. RSMP link is below. Please leave a review on Apple and Spotify or wherever you listen. We have huge miniatures. That affiliate link is below. And without further ado, Godspeed the Freedom Force token, famously the name of Mystique's leadership. Bye.